You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? Thanks so much for being with us on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's our last show before Father's Day. A couple of dads on the show, and then a young lad who's got a dad and a grandfather that he needs to honor come Sunday. How are you?
I'm doing great. A little tired, a little sleep deprived. After that game was over, for whatever reason, I couldn't fall asleep until about 1.
What do you mean after that game was over? That game was over before 10 o'clock.
Well, after the game ended officially.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Good point.
I text Felipe. I think it was before 10 o'clock. I text Felipe and I said, hey, congratulations on the bet and or on the pick, because he didn't make the bet. But I said, make sure you go find that material that I just gave you yesterday. Hadn't backed up the truck on something in 7-8 years and may not back up the truck on anything the rest of the decade.
I think you hit Felipe's new car when you were backing up.
I call it ammunition. But, yeah.
But Felipe said Warriors in 6. Miller and Moulton had the Warriors in 7. It ends up being 6. They make a little history. Their 4th title in 8 seasons as a group. 7 titles overall as a franchise, which actually puts them 3rd on the all-time NBA list behind just the Celtics and the Lakers.
Big gap between 2 and 3.
Yes, in fact, a bigger gap than the Warriors franchise has won championships. Yeah, 17-17-7. Correct.
They called me a madman. But
they called who?
Me.
Who?
Oh, it's all about Felipe. I forgot.
Oh,
sorry.
Look.
I mean, the Warriors won 53 games. That's not a great team.
They're
don't
not
win
a great
53
team.
games in the regular season and call yourself a great team. They're not a great team. I think you got to bet the Celtics hard tonight. Name the bet. You want to bet jobs?
I'll buy you lunch.
Okay. If the Warriors lose, you're fired. How about that? I mean, seriously, I'm backing up the truck on the Celtics. There you go. The truck. There you go.
Got him.
Think about what he would have today.
I know. He'd have a new blue car.
Right. He'd have an extra car. Right. He'd have a Kona.
Right.
Right. Metallic blue. Right. I don't know what he'd do with it. Maybe he'd give it to that young lady who hit his car a month ago to try to woo her.
Here's a loaner.
Okay. There you go. All right. He'd have that. He'd be co-hosting the show at the very least with you today. I mean, I laid it all out there. I just kept throwing bets down.
And here's the thing. He'll be asleep before 8 o'clock. I'm looking at him right now. There's not a doubt in my mind.
It's a mess.
That
he shower. I'm nervous.
You won't make it till 8 o'clock. You look like you're going to fall asleep right now, Felipe, and the show just started.
Listen, we got 4 guests today. You need to bring it today. All right.
This isn't a good show today. This is a great show today.
I'll be good.
Okay. All right. We'll hold you to it.
I'll take that bet too.
But you always remember the ones. It's like the losses, Mark. The great players and coaches, they remember the losses more than they remember the triumphs. All right. Have gotten many a back up the truck right. But remember the 3 or 4 that you really failed on. And there you go. There you go.
Golden State was 0-3 and closeout opportunities on the road.
Celtics historically had never lost 3 consecutive NBA Finals games, ever, in any situation. Well, there you go. Give it up to the Warriors. When they were teetering, when the champs were now 2-1, and we say champs because of this nucleus. You know what's funny about Draymond Green? He still doesn't count the 2016 loss to the Cavs, because Draymond's line in the postgame is, no one's beaten us whole. Dude, you lost in 2016 to the Cavs, and you weren't suspended for the last 3 games. You were suspended for 1 game out of the 3. And it was a home game at that. So it's funny. Draymond, and I don't know if the rest of them feel this way, but Draymond's big line is, no one's beaten us whole. Well, So he doesn't consider the loss to the
Draymond
Raptors
lives
a
in
loss.
a little revisionist history.
Right. The Raptors loss doesn't count either because guys got hurt by the end of that series.
Right.
So that loss doesn't count. And the Cavs loss doesn't count because, well, he missed one game. So that's his story.
And he'll stick to it.
Yes,
Trust
he
me.
is. Yep.
You want to know something though? Mark, he played well last night.
He played great last night. No, I mean, honestly, you were right about the game. You were dead wrong on how it was going to go. You were all Clay
I
this,
was
Clay
wrong.
that. Clay was terrible.
He was.
He not terrible, but he was less than average. Terrible is what Boston did turning the ball over. That's an inaccurate statement.
In fact, hold on. I think they just turned it over again.
Yeah,
they did.
Also, it doesn't take a genius to guess that Steph Curry would have had a good game after a bad game.
Well, and we
thought he would.
We were predicting numbers.
Look, I just didn't expect Boston to have 21 turnovers, shoot as badly as they did again.
I said that if the Celtics were to win, it'd be because of Al Horford.
Well, you do have a man crush on Al Horford.
It
came out very early in these playoffs.
It really did.
None of us saw it coming either. But
Shout out Al Horford.
There's
man.
a little bit of a crush there.
You like him a little more than his father does.
You like him about as much. You would think you're a Gators fan for as much as you love Al Horford.
Right.
Oh, hell no. No, don't get it twisted now.
I understand. But 21-0 run in a 4.5-minute period of time. Before 10 o'clock, too. It was fantastic. Obviously, I had the game on in the background. Started working on the starting five.
I went up fourth quarter. I forgot to do today was the day when. I usually do it when I put my daughter to bed. And I'm like, I got to get this done.
I mean, I think the closest they got the rest of the way was like 8. I mean, the sucker was basically over. 10 minutes to go, second quarter. It was like, it's nice of you guys to do this. Gives Felipe time to start preparing the material.
I don't know if I've seen an NBA team call that many timeouts in a quarter.
So hats off to the Warriors. 4th title in an 8-season period of time. 6 trips to the finals, 4 rings. And Steph got his MVP. And, it just whatever doubters there were that they can't exist anymore.
Yeah, that was probably the best moment of his career.
I love the fact he was so emotional while the game was still going on.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked up with about 1:15 to go, and it began to hit him. They're going to win. And he was fighting back tears for a long time. And then by the end, he was crying with time still left on the clock. That's cool to see. I think it is. I love when we get to see just how much something means to these athletes and coaches.
Thought he was eloquent in speaking to Lisa Salters right after and saying, you just don't know. To go to the bottom as quickly as we did, you just have no idea when you're going to get back to this and how important it is to relish the opportunities that you get. Because it was not but 2 years ago that they were all banged up. They were lottery picking, and you didn't know whether or not this team was going to come back.
He said after they lost in the play-in last year, you don't want to see us next year.
Yeah, but you don't know if that's false bravado or not. I mean, Bob Myers is the president of the franchise, and I heard an interview with him on NBA radio in which the guys interviewing him were with them during training camp. And they asked him, did you think this was a championship team in late September? And he said, no. He said, no, I didn't. He said, I thought, if we stayed healthy, we'd have a chance. And he goes, but no, we had our doubts. He said, but the one thing that we kept hold of was we felt like this group deserved to lose before we broke them up. And so we're like, you know what? Let's put as much around them as we can, and let's give them their best shot because they've given us so much. And then he said, the season starts to go on and what have you. But he did say, he goes, Phoenix. And then he said, Boston beat us pretty good in like late December, early January. He goes, we kind of had the Celtics circled thinking that if we could get through the West, this is the team we thought we'd see. He goes, nobody did to us in a regular season game what they did to us. So it's fascinating. Well,
Golden State, the one thing last night they proved is that they are a a full multi-layered team and that it's not just making three-pointers.
Right.
They won the game last night with defense, creating turnovers. As bad as Boston was, you have to give Golden State credit for forcing the turnovers, for continuing to play defense, for after getting killed on the glass in game 3.
Yep. By 16.
Minus 16 on the glass in game 3. I don't think they lost a rebounding edge after that.
Ever since game 3, Andrew Wiggins, I don't know what happened to him. The dude just turned into Dennis Rodman or something like that.
Well, he was the first overall pick of a draft. And in some of the interviews that I heard, basically the Warriors said, it's tough on a young guy when they're put in a bad situation. And if you think about it, Wiggins was with the Wolves. That's a tough situation for a young player. I mean, it is. But they said they had their eye on him for about a year before they acquired him.
Probably because when they signed D'Lo, they knew that the Wolves would want D'Lo.
And they thought that, he would be, they thought he could at least replace, who was it, Harrison Barnes?
Yes.
Who was that guy on their original, Nucleus championship teams. He goes, we thought he was a suitable replacement for Barnes. He said, Bob Myers is who I'm quoting here, and he said, listen, you can't replace a Durant. So we were just trying to get back to where we thought we were when we originally started going to the finals.
He had 4 steals and 3 blocks last night. Clamps.
Second best player on their team in the finals.
Yeah.
So good for them. Good for them. And, if you're Boston, very quickly, you got to make a decision. Do you need a point guard? I mean, did you go as far as you could with Marcus Smart as the primary ball handler, if you will, and then trying to have Tatum and Brown, or do you actually need to get a true point guard and run the ship accordingly? Because down the stretch in this series, they were a turnover machine.
They were. Tatum proved that as good as he is, it's not where he needs to be in the critical situations as being the main ball handler.
Should they have kept Kemba?
No. Kemba showed this year with the Knicks. He's done.
Yeah, that's true. He's old.
So, and, get the guys that they got rid of, they actually got better. And they dumped them on the Knicks. Good job by Brad Stevens.
Yeah. Big night for Ontario, Andrew Wiggins, Drake.
Do I have to apologize? Okay, I'm being told in the Twitch chat room I have to apologize to Felipe.
Why?
Well, I didn't think I had to apologize. I was wrong. I didn't think I got personal. I mean, if I did,
you threatened his job.
Is that personal?
Not on this show.
Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who's
You know,
shot a gazillion?
Yeah.
You know, Johnny Mac, when the Celtics are losing, we're all winning. When Boston is losing, we're all winning.
By the way, somebody tweeted out late yesterday that somebody ranked in the top 16 in the world is on Monday announcing they're leaving.
Where's Brooks Koepka ranked?
Outside the top 16.
Okay.
He's like 19th. The rumors are it's Schauffele.
Wow. Wow.
Gooch is 4 over.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they did not do well.
No, they didn't. Now, I got to tell you, it's a U.S. Open. They might have not done well normally.
Oh, hey. I know. I guess what I was thinking.
Brandon Grace is 6 over, and he's on that tour.
If I was Norman, I would have told the guys, you get $1 million bonus for winning your threesome. If you're playing with 2 tour guys, 2 non-LIV guys, there's $1 million for you if you win your group for 2 days. I think he is Canada relief. Is Steph a top 10 player all time?
Oh, yeah.
It's a question of whether or not he's top 5, top 6. It's where
He
and
look,
it's what your qualifications. I mean, it'll change with everybody, but he changed the game.
look, I put it on my list on the
My guys,
MillerMoulton.com.
Homa and Zalatoris both 100.
Yep.
Looking ahead, I think Steph will end up being the best point guard of all time. I think right now it's Magic, but ahead of
No,
time,
they're not
it'll be
really.
Steph. I mean, the impact he had, you could argue he's maybe on Mount Rushmore of NBA.
Yeah, exactly. From a transformational standpoint, it's really hard not to do it. You
Michael
put
LeBron,
Chamberlain?
Steph.
No, you'd put Chamberlain.
Michael,
Rules change because of Wilt. You got to remember that.
okay, Michael LeBron, Steph, Wilt. That's a solid Mount Rushmore, in my opinion.
I don't know if
Kareem?
no, I don't know.
Crap. NBA's over. You know, when I started, the NBA was just getting started.
Yay!
Woo!
This is the best time of the year.
Play best day
Best
ever
time,
by
best
Mac
time of the
Miller.
NBA season's coming up.
Yeah, you got the draft on
Free
Thursday,
agency.
and
Single
then
best
free
parts,
agency.
single
Like
best parts of the NBA season, the off season.
Facts.
Yep.
Off season is spicy.
But yeah, the stories that are out there. Hovland's been mentioned, although he denied it. But there are apparently a lot of whispers about Hovland. Schauffele, who I think is 12th in the world.
Young.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes.
I mean, it's got to. If you're going after Schauffele, and I'm not joking around, I know he's not, DeChambeau, but it's got to be 8 digits if I'm Schauffele to even think about it.
I don't know if it's 8, but
Oh no, it's 8 before I'm thinking about it. Schauffele's going to make $4 million a year on this tour.
okay. But if they offer you like 75.
So I said.
Oh,
8.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I was thinking 9.
I
No. Oh no, it'll be high 8 digits.
I
It'll
mean,
be over 50.
Well, it starts at 50. I
Yeah.
mean, that's
No,
you
it'll
can't
be
even-
over 50.
You can't even get me to listen, and I'm not being a dink here.
No.
You can't get me to listen for 50.
No, well, because also
For less than 50,
you also
rather.
have to figure on the sponsorship revenue you're going to lose
Yeah.
too.
He might be closer to DeChambeau's number than you think because of his age.
I'm telling you, these guys are banking on the fact that I believe in about 3 years there's going to be a reconciliation. And so they'll take this short-term money and then they'll be able to peel back.
Well, and they may have been told by their lawyer.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. I'm a very poor man this morning after backing up the truck on the Celtics in Game 6. Mark, I may need $10 for lunch.
Where are you going to eat on $10? Little
Yeah.
Caesars?
Yeah, well, that may be.
Where you
Although their
go?
prices will go up now that they're the official pizza of the NFL. I think that deal's in like a year.
I mean, does $10 even get you? I don't do fast food anymore. Does $10 get you lunch at a fast food place?
It
Yeah.
depends. I may without a beverage, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I took the kid to Five Guys, which to me is a
no.
no, but I mean, it's a mere step above, a fraction of a step above fast food. And you can't get out two people
No.
for under $30.
Correct.
No, but Five Guys is a little more pricey
Correct.
for quote unquote fast food.
No. Mm-mm. No way. No. But you can get a Little Caesars.
I know you can.
$7, $8.
I know that's.
I mean, you can go crazy. So yeah, that's your best value. Well, value in terms of the amount of food you can have.
I know you can probably do the dollar menu and get out for under. I mean, you can probably do Wendy's couple double
Well,
stacks and.
They're not really dollars anymore.
That's how
they're more like two.
I'm showing my
Right. Yeah. There's
my lack of drive-through.
not a lot that you can get for less than $1.99
Okay.
anymore.
Wendy's has the deals though.
No, they do. They do.
$5 biggie bag.
Yeah, but it's, you get like 4 nuggets. You get like a regular, cheeseburger. I mean, it's not stuff that fills you up. It's not. It's not. You actually get that little bag for $5 and you go, this was cute. This was an appetizer. Now, let me go and order my double or whatever. So maybe you could like order one of those little specials and then a burger.
I got the gas station down the road. I can still get 10 tacos for like $10. That's
Well,
all
there
I
you
really
go.
care about.
It's the go-to.
Well,
It's
what's the
go-to.
prices at White Castle?
Well, we don't have one. All right. We don't have one.
Orlando's got one of those. They don't have a World Cup game.
No, they do not. No, they do not. 11 American cities, however, will be hosting World Cup matches, including Miami. And then I think the next closest to us is Atlanta.
Well, David, I want to at least give you a little bit of positivity today as you backed up the truck and lost. The one thing you did tell us yesterday that came true is it will be a nobody leading the U.S. Open.
Although, believe it or not, I mean, Adam Hadwin
Is a nobody.
He's on tour, at least.
I got you,
yes.
but
he hasn't done much.
And you said someone that you've never really heard of. There will be a name on top of the leaderboard. Typical U.S. Open is a name on top of the leaderboard of a guy that you haven't heard of. And Adam Hadwin definitely fits the bill. The Canadian from Moose Jaw on top of the leaderboard.
Well, good day for Canadians. Wiggins for the Warriors and Hadwin at the U.S. Open. So 4 under 66. Rory in a group at 3 under. DJ Justin Rose in a group at 2 under. JT.
Morikawa and Rahm all in the 1 under group with Zalatoris.
Yeah, my 2 Americans, Homa and Zalatoris, in that group at 1 under. Hovland, Scheffler, Schauffele, Matsuyama in the group at even. Bryson 1 over, Spieth 2 over, Koepka 3 over, Sergio 4 over, Oosthuizen 7 over, and Phil beat like 9 guys, 7 or 9 guys. That's it.
Yeah, he was terrible.
He was, which we predicted. We said
hadn't played at all. You can't walk into a U.S. Open without any tournament play and think you're going to get a round of golf course with a good round of golf.
Well, he played badly in the London tournament. I mean, you think you're then going to show up and play this track and play it well? Besides, Phil doesn't hit it straight. When he's playing well, he doesn't hit it straight. So he shot an 8 over 78. He's T144. Let's see, he played in the afternoon yesterday. So, I mean, hell, he'll be home by dinner. I mean, West Coast time, right? I mean, he'll be done by lunch. He'll quick thing to the airport, fly private home. I mean, maybe mid-after.
Hey, most of those live guys are going to spend a lot of time with their family because most of them aren't playing on the weekend.
Right. But they can all fly private home.
Right.
So that's the good thing. They can afford it. Although your guy DJ,
I just can't believe this IV tour has been causing so much controversy. I mean, who doesn't want to get an IV?
Oh boy. Miller and Moulton. It was nice. At least I sensed we were back to just golf yesterday. Did you feel as if it was pushed to the side, or
it was? Well, I had it on all day.
Okay. Which channel?
All of them. I went from USA to NBC back to USA.
Okay.
Made it from the whole run all morning.
So you didn't do Peacock Plus?
Well, I don't have. I'm not paying for it.
Okay. I didn't know
at this point.
I didn't know. Once again, a reminder today, nearly 4 hours of the 12-hour coverage is on Peacock Plus.
But NBC, they both made mention. USA made mention of it. Then they come on the NBC coverage and they make a little mention. Then they bring Curtis Strange on. And Curtis delivered the same haymakers he did on our show earlier this week.
Sure.
Said virtually the same thing he said on Miller and Moulton about how can guys turn their back on the tour. And he gets emotional when he talks about it. He gets upset and emotional at the same time. And after Curtis did his interview, that was about the end of it. From that point forward, it seemed to me that they just covered golf.
Now, you do know on the weekend they're going to go back to this because the audience on the weekend is far bigger than the audience Thursday and Friday.
Right.
So they're going to have to rewind all this stuff. I don't think Curtis is still going to be in town.
No, I think he literally left after that interview.
Or today, yes, one or the other. But they'll have to bring it all back for the weekend audience.
Absolutely. Now, like I said, a lot of those guys played poorly yesterday.
What guys?
The live guys.
Oh, okay.
Phil, Oosthuizen, Sergio, Taylor Gooch, Brandon Grace. They all look like they're going to be home early.
Yeah, no, DJ's carrying the banner.
DJ and Piot.
And Piot's 1 under, and Patrick Reed, I think, was even.
Even DeChambeau's 1 over.
Right. So, they got 4 guys. 4 out of either 11 or 13, something like that.
Provided one of them doesn't lose their mind today.
Which is always possible.
Absolutely. It's a U.S. Open.
I mean, heck, even Rory lost his mind for a short time yesterday.
Loved listening to an interview with him, and he starts talking about what happened and why it happened. And he said after he made the turn, he simply said, I made the turn without making a bogey. And my mindset was, let's not make a bogey today. And that was the mentality I took through the rest of the round. And he said, so when I'm on my 18th hole, because they started on the back, he said, I'm in between clubs. And I took a little time, and then I hit it in the one place. He goes, anything I missed all day, I missed in the proper spot. He goes, you missed that green left. It's an easy up and down. And I miss it to the right where you can't miss it. And he goes, and here we are. I played 17 great holes, and we're talking about the one bad one I played.
So 1 round complete in the U.S. Open.
Pissed off Rory could be a good Rory.
Well, he is motivated. All right. It is go time. I mean, come on. It's been 8 years since he's won a major.
I got you.
8 years. I mean, he should. Good. There's more guys who need to get this animated, quite frankly. Yeah, let's go. This is winning time. I mean, listen, Rory's 3 years away from being DJ. I mean, you go from early to mid-30s to late 30s, and once you get to late 30s, nowadays on that tour, I mean, once you get to late 30s, they start thinking, well, you're not going to win big tournaments anymore. So, yeah, it's go time, baby. And he's right there. He's 1 back. JT's in contention. Scheffler's in contention. Rahm's in contention. So far, so good for NBC.
Absolutely. The best players off to a good start. We're Miller and Moulton. Starting fives on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The Josh Graham meme is pretty good.
Holy crap.
I think the Rays should start making plans to move. I really do. Like, I think the only chance now that the Rays have of getting something in Tampa is to start planning to leave and just say, you know what, we've kind of given up. And do what Oakland's doing with Vegas. If I was Sternberg, I would
Start
go
talking to Nashville.
Yeah, or Portland or wherever. I'd literally call the league and say, when you're thinking about realignment and all that, where do you want us?
Okay.
What?
He came in to tell us he's awake.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do 5 push-ups every break.
Okay.
Why not actually do push-ups? Do 20. I'll do 20 with you every break.
Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Heck of a scene behind closed doors and behind the curtain here on Miller and Moulton.
You call those push-ups, Mark?
Yeah, actually they were. And that's what's going on. See, Felipe, he's excited because he got his NBA pick right. And he took me on head-to-head yesterday on the show, and he was right. So that's the good part of Felipe. Here's the bad part of Felipe. He was up very late. He got very little sleep, and he didn't shower. And so Felipe, when he doesn't shower, he can't stay awake during the show. And we got a busy show. We got 4 guests. It's Friday. Okay, we're fired up. And he's already fallen asleep during segments.
Yep.
So we told him, hey, walk around. Go get some coffee. Walk outside if you have to. Throw water on your face, the whole deal. So his thing during the break was, I'm going to do push-ups.
I'm going to do 5 push-ups each break. I'm going to really test my limits of my body. I'm going to do 5 push-ups every break.
So Mark said,
Tough guy.
If you're, wanting to exert yourself, why don't you do like 20? And Felipe goes, no, man, I'm not doing 20. So all of a sudden we start coming back on the air and Mark decides he's going to show Felipe how to do push-ups. So I'm saying, hey, welcome back, yada, yada. And then Mark's on the floor in the studio doing push-ups.
Made it back.
Yeah.
Time.
Well, I'll vamp until you get back.
You gotta get that butt down, Mark.
Says the guy who's over 30 years younger than you.
That can do 5 push-ups.
Maybe.
I don't have that strength, unfortunately. Not yet.
Miller and Moulton here on this Friday. The guests start in about 40 minutes time, and we are going to hit on everything that is going on in the sports world today. Going to talk a little soccer in 40 minutes. Going to talk Steelers in an hour. Going to talk NHL at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. And we'll wrap up the NBA regular season and playoffs 2 hours from now.
And the soccer's almost threefold. 1, the World Cup sites were selected. 2, the MLS just did a monster deal with Apple TV. And we will get into that. But I think that this is relevant for anybody that's a sports fan of any sport, because what the MLS has done with Apple TV is taken away all the local broadcast rights. And would this ever happen in the NBA, Major League Baseball, or hockey? I don't know. But I do think it's an interesting topic of what the connection is between MLS and Apple. It's the first of its kind, and there should be more down the road, that's for certain.
It is time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Well, it's definitely the Warriors. 103-90 winners over Boston. They went on a 21-0 run, reportedly the biggest run in NBA Finals history from any team ever. It started with 2.5 minutes left in the first quarter, ended 2 minutes into the second quarter. 21-0 run. And that was basically the game. They led by 15 at the half. They had a 22-point lead early third. Celtics cut it all the way down to 8 late third and at times in the fourth. But it was too much. Steph with 34 points. He was MVP. Celtics had 22 turnovers. Jason Tatum was awful. 13 points, only 2 of them in the second half. Mark, I am hoping for Tatum. You know how in hockey, when series are over and a week later we find out somebody's going in for 2 surgeries? I'm hoping that we find out Tatum was injured. Because for an all-star, bordering on star player, he was a disaster the final handful of games of this season.
And every game in the second half.
So the Warriors, it's their 4th title in 8 seasons. It's their 7th, by the way, in franchise history. They did win 2 of them back in the day when the Warriors were based out of Philadelphia. It's their 5th title since moving to the Bay Area, but the 7 titles makes them the 3rd winningest championship franchise in league history behind the big 2, Boston and LA. Speaking of 2, game 2's tomorrow night, Stanley Cup Finals. Avs up 1-0 on the Lightning. Oh, by the way, John Tortorella, former Lightning head coach when they won it the first time back in 2004. He now has his 5th head coaching gig. The Flyers signed him to a 4-year deal. You know what this is all about. They had a couple nice guys as coaches, and so now they're bringing in the tyrant, and here's the problem. They don't have enough good players.
If you bring in the tyrant, you got to be ready to win. And they're not even ready to make the playoffs, let alone ready to win.
Problem is they think they're ready to win. I know. The rest the rest of us look at them and look at the East and go, guys, you're like the 10th best team. Maybe. Salary cap went up $1 million in the NHL. That's big news because of the pandemic. The last 2 or 3 caps have been frozen. $82.5 million now is the cap. U.S. Open golf, Canadian Adam Hadwin is your leader after a 4 under 66. Rory is 1 of 5, 1 back at 3 under. DJ is 1 of 7, 2 shots back at 2 under. You got Justin Thomas, Gary Woodland, John Rahm, Adam Scott, Max Homa, Zalatoris, Morikawa. They're all part of a group of a dozen at 1 under. Hovland, Scheffler, Patrick Reed, Schauffele, Matsuyama, all in a group at even. DeChambeau bogeyed his 18th to finish 1 over. Spieth shot 2 over. Koepka 3 over. Sergio 4 over. Louis Oosthuizen, who was 2nd a year ago, 7 over. And Phil 8 over. Tied for 144th. I think he only beat about 8 guys in the field. He'll be home by dinner tonight. World Cup, 16 North American venues announced yesterday. 11 of them in the U.S., 3 in Mexico, 2 in Canada. Miami, the only Florida city to get World Cup games. Hard Rock Stadium. All of these locations are NFL stadiums. Miami, New Jersey, Los Angeles. Remember, last time we had the World Cup, they had it at the Rose Bowl. No to the Rose Bowl, yes to SoFi. Dallas at Jarrah's Place. San Francisco is at Levi's there. Atlanta is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Seattle's where the Seahawks play. Houston's where the Texans play. Philly is where the Eagles play. Kansas City's at Arrowhead. And Boston. It is noteworthy. I mean, the other cities that were under consideration in the U.S. that were left out are Orlando, the Baltimore, D.C. area, Cincinnati, Nashville, and Denver. It's interesting, Chicago not considered at all. That's a great.
It's a great soccer city.
It's a great American sports city.
It is, but I mean, with Grant Park and all the people there for the World Cup games before, it was always a big scene. I'm surprised.
So there you have it. College World Series gets underway today in Omaha with 2 games. Oklahoma against A&M. It's a couple of Big 12 teams, right?
Right.
In a couple years, there'll be a couple of SEC teams. Notre Dame and Texas in the other one. Rob Manfred, he's the commissioner of Major League Baseball. He came out yesterday and says Oakland and Tampa Bay need new ballparks like tomorrow. Well, I mean, at least Oakland is in negotiations kind of sort of with Las Vegas. I mean, they're playing Oakland politics against Las Vegas politics. I'm telling you, if Sternberg, in my opinion, was smart, he would just start planning to leave. He's clearly not making any progress with, I mean, the governor's now honked at the Rays because they tweeted about gun violence. All right. There's no indication that Tallahassee or Tampa is going to allocate any money, and he clearly wants some money for a new stadium. If I was him, I would just start planning to move.
You got Nashville, you've got Portland, you got Montreal,
potentially Charlotte. Okay, they probably have to sit down and talk to the Braves, but I mean, things can be arranged. But if you're Sternberg right now, I mean, come on. The odds right now, your gut feeling 5 years from now, a new ballpark in Tampa, or I'm taking this franchise elsewhere.
Probably taking it elsewhere. And that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want the franchise to leave, but
look at it logically right now. There's no
anything.
And it doesn't seem, as you pointed out, between the gun violence and having Pride Night, I'm not sure if the governor even recognizes the Tampa Rays as a team. And you kind of need him to get a stadium.
And the Rays just got swept by the Yankees. Rizzo with a homer in the 9th. The Yankees beat them 2-1 to sweep the 3-game series. They're 12 back. Toronto's now 10 back. They lost to Baltimore 10-2. Oakland beat the Red Sox 4-3. Great day for the Yankees yesterday. Whole rest of the division basically lost.
That's 2 in a row the Jays have lost to the Orioles, too.
Cleveland doubled up Colorado 4-2. That means the Guardians would make the playoffs right now at the Red Sox expense, and Cleveland's only 2 back of the Twins. Mets beat Milwaukee 5-4, but they lost another starting pitcher to injury. McGill, who just came back, left with a bad shoulder. Phillies scored 7 in the 3rd. They beat Washington 10-1. They're 2 games above 500. Apparently, Joe Girardi was the problem after all.
That division's starting to get interesting.
Texas with 3 in the 9th to beat Detroit 3-1. Joe Musgrove's 8-0 for the Padres, who are in first place in the West. They beat the Cubs 6-4. Angels over Seattle 4-1. Trout homered and Ohtani with 6 shutout innings. Think about how bad they'd be without those two. They're below 500 with those two.
Right.
And they're both playing really well. Unbelievable. NFL, Mike McCarthy fined $100,000, second year in a row that the Cowboys had one too many physical OTA practices, and so they're going to lose a practice next year. That's what the NFL did. McCarthy has to write a check, and the team loses a practice. Jerry Jones was asked, by the way, hey, how about a second NFL franchise in Dallas? And he's still laughing. The Bears, by the way, honored.
Won't let one in San Antonio. You think they're going to let one in Dallas?
Yeah, I know. Where are they going to play? The Bears had all 90 players yesterday wear number 41 to honor Brian Piccolo, who died 52 years ago yesterday. That's a classy move. The NCAA, by the way, recommending new transfer portal windows, but they didn't say when those windows would be. But they now think there needs to be 2 or 3 times a year that you can transfer, and that's it. And Sue Bird announced her retirement at the end of the season, the 41-year-old basketball legend. Have you ever seen the stat as to how many championships she's won?
Yes, but you would have to remind me of how many it is.
I mean, are we going to count the 5 high school championships that she won in New York? between city titles, state titles, and they won a national championship tournament. She won the 4 conference titles for UConn. She won 18 international championships playing abroad in Russia and on some of the teams that she was in. If you don't even count those, because those aren't the biggies. She won 2 NCAA championships, 5 Olympic gold medals, and 4 WNBA titles.
Not bad.
All told, it's something like 40 championships she's won.
Wow.
And 11 big ones, as we'd say. And that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I mean, I don't want the Rays to move at all.
And neither do I.
And I blame Sternberg more than I blame the community that they play in. I do. I mean, I don't hold it against the people in the Tampa Bay area. If we lived there, it's where the ballpark is not convenient for the majority of the people that live in the area. It's just not.
Nope.
We would be amongst the many. They have great TV and radio local ratings.
Had them on last night again. 3 nights in a row I've watched their telecast, David.
Yeah.
We watch, we listen.
Yes. And we would probably, because we're sports fans and what have you, have a partial season ticket package. We might exchange tickets back and forth. We might give some tickets away. We would try, I think, to support them. But we're completely understanding of the situation that they had. That stadium got the franchise. That's awesome. Now we need to transition to the second phase.
And there is no support to get the second phase.
No. And that's also understandable. Now's not the time to be asking for money. I mean, it's not a good time. I mean, take a look at the franchises that were asking for money in the late 70s and early 80s. It didn't matter, Democrat or Republican in office. I mean, it's not the time to put your hand up and be asking for money. But I think
they need a stadium. And if they don't get a stadium, they're gone.
And they need to go find their Vegas, the city that they can negotiate off of. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I had a pork chop last night. I hadn't had pork chops in years, and they were delicious.
You had a pork chop last night.
Pork chop.
Huh.
It was delicious.
I love pork chops.
Now, see, that is a meal that I would think you didn't get very often.
No, that's why I like it.
Okay. Is there, like my mom's parents, that's where we would go to get a pork chop.
Another meal that I feel about
Big,
that.
thick ones, too.
Yeah.
Big, huge, thick pork chops last night, like 2 inches thick.
Another meal that I feel similar about that is ribs.
Okay, here's a question.
I love
The
ribs.
one thick pork chop or the two thin pork chops with stuffing in the middle? Which would you prefer?
The second option.
The first option cut in half and stuffed, but that's, if you want to stuff it, it's got to be a big fat one. That's how I would stuff it. You're just making a pork chop sandwich, essentially, aren't you?
Well, because it's been presented to me that way in the past,
Gotcha.
where they were kind of the two normal pork chops, not the super
Right.
thick ones, but then there would be stuffing in the middle.
Look at you. I mean,
Right.
I'm trying to stay away from the bread these days, but stuffing.
Well, I'm just asking a poll
Oh,
question. I'm not asking like tonight at 5. I'm just saying if you had your druthers, forget what, you're on a shape up or whatever. I mean,
I like the thick pork chop.
okay.
And I did it different. I did it in the sous vide last night.
See, here's my thing with applesauce. I had a lot of ear, nose, and throat problems growing up. And so I took so many pills in applesauce that I grew to hate it by like the time I was a teenager. And it's weird because I'm okay with apples.
Do you like Jell-O?
Yeah.
There's always room for Jell-O, Philly.
Yeah. Always
Oh,
room
yeah.
for Jell-O.
He doesn't realize that's
No.
Bill Cosby.
No. Something else to look up.
Do your push-ups.
I don't know where he is. I think he left.
Do your push-ups. I want to hold the door. I gotta do mine. Get my ass down more.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
There you go. Yeah.
Unbelievable. You should see what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, don't mess up the camera.
This man's going crazy.
Don't mess up the camera. Look at that. Wow.
This is that strength right here. That's what that is. That's look at that, man. Look at that.
They're just push-ups. What are you doing here?
Gotta show the world.
Go do your push-ups. Go do your 5.
Well, RCB, I mean, he was also, when he bought the team, though, he was stuck in a lease till 2026 or 7, whenever it is. So there was nothing he could do. There's only 30 of these franchises. So you buy the team. And besides, the team has now tripled or quadrupled or gone up times 8 in value. So until Steve Cohen came along, New York fans wanted Sternberg, who's a New Yorker, and I think grew up a Mets fan. They wanted him to like switch the franchises.
Right. How could you not? The way the franchise is run.
So, well, it is amazing for the franchise to be run as well as it is. And for him as an owner to allow that part of it to go the way it is, and then to be so bad.
Come back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. 71 days away from week 0 of the college football season. 76 days away from that first Thursday night of college football. And 83 days away from the Bills and Rams kicking off the 2022 NFL season. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Father's Day on Sunday. We've got a Father's Day poll question. We would appreciate your honesty. See, the good thing about poll questions is that you can do it anonymously. So I would like to think that this is one of the few places in your life that you can be honest all the time. Now, you and I, because, we're hosts and we feel, people listening deserve to know our views on things. So we always, when we retweet the poll questions, we give our answers.
Right.
We let you know, well, this is how we voted. But you don't have to do that. See, you can keep it in. And you may want to keep your answer to yourself to this poll question. Come on now.
I like the way you phrase that, David.
Sometimes, keeping things to yourself is the best approach.
It's very simple. Father's Day is Sunday. Would you rather spend Father's Day with your family or being left alone?
Now, there you have it. And of course, publicly, we're all going to say with family. Why, of course. Come on.
We got a text from a friend who said, I just saw your poll question. Just had a buddy catch COVID. His wife is in the medical field and needs to stay completely away from him. He's staying in their RV behind their house until he clears up. I said it sounds like the greatest Father's Day present ever. Just my 2 cents.
And so we know publicly what your answer is. I mean, we know if your wife or girlfriend or child, significant other, special someone in your life, whatever the case may be, saw this poll question, they would say, can you believe these 2 yahoos in this poll question? I mean, come on. I mean, with family or alone, of course it's with family, right? Right? And you, of course, would go, well, right, honey.
Of course. All I want to do is spend Sunday all day with you and the kids.
I mean, it's just nice to have the day off to be able to spend some quality time together. And now you can then vote on the poll question. You've said the right thing. You're covered. You're good. Now you can vote.
No wrong answer.
No. If you want to let us know privately, we will protect your identity.
Being alone is not as big of a deal to me as it is to some other dads. I don't mind being with my family.
Well, that's wow.
On Father's Day.
That's good.
I mean, I would, out of the 2 of these, I will choose family. I would rather spend the day with my wife and daughter than being left alone.
All right. Can I just drill down
Please
a little
do.
bit? All right. The implication when we put family is not that they're on the premises and you can hear them throughout your day, like an AM radio in the background.
Right.
All right. This isn't like music that you just have playing in the background, but yet you're still doing other things. The implication when we put family is that you would spend time with them. Not
What kind of time?
well, time as in, your day is not you sitting in a chair.
Wait a minute.
Watching the U.S. Open by yourself with them just being background noise. You hear your 8-year-old daughter swimming. All right. Your wife is off in another room talking to her friends. That's not family time. Family time is they're in the same room as you.
Exactly. One of them serving me drinks and the other one sitting next to me, keeping me company. The hell? I mean, Thought
Right.
I'd have the daughter sitting on my lap, explain golf and the U.S. Open to her while the wife was bringing me cocktails.
Right. Okay. Well, what
Isn't that spending time with family?
it may qualify. It may to you. Not sure it will qualify with them. Because remember, if they're in the room with you, they may want to grab the remote. They may want to talk to you and actually have a conversation. While
If it's about the U.S. Open, we can have it. I mean, if it's about the Live Tour, I am more than happy to talk to either of them about this.
well, it may just be about
Thank
life.
goodness I didn't answer this question yet.
You know, KW in the Twitch chat brings up a good point. What if Father's Day was just a collection of all fathers hanging out with each other?
I'd rather spend time with my family.
Oh, there you go.
So how about like you and 3 of your buddies going out and playing a round of golf and then having a meal and some drinks and
Right.
watching some golf together somewhere?
Yeah,
That doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's our day.
Wait.
Excuse me?
Speaking from your perspective,
I was gonna say,
thankfully, I'm not a dad yet.
yes, thankfully.
Probably wouldn't have got that car.
I mean, we don't know what you make, but we have an idea. So yes, hold off for a little while.
Planning on it.
So there you go. That's our poll question. All right. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FL Sports Network on Twitter. There you go. Alone or with family. By the way, the women listening also, feel free to vote also, whether or not
Whether
you're
you'd
like,
rather
God,
spend time with your husband or whether you'd let him be alone for the day.
right. And then, you get, it's a good day for you also.
You think you get honored more on Father's Day or your birthday?
Father's Day.
That's what I'm thinking.
Hold on a second. You said honored?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't get honored on either.
I was
Do you
gonna
get
say,
more? Do you get more attention paid to you on Father's Day or your birthday? Father's Day,
I think
because your wife doesn't care about your birthday. I mean, she buys you something, but it's out of obligation. Father's Day, she actually gives you a touch of respect because you helped raise
remember
a child.
Remember,
Right.
Felipe, you're asking the wrong guy here. My wife and I, we don't get cards for each other anymore. My wife has vetoed the whole card thing. So,
She's a lot of fun, that lady. I tell you what, barrel of laughs.
You know, the concept of a birthday is a little narcissistic.
no, not
No.
true. Not true.
Why do we
People who celebrate a birthday month, maybe, but celebrating your birthday, that's
No, listen, life's not easy. All right.
one day out of 365. It's
Yeah.
not all bad.
Celebrating in another year, you know what? It beats the alternative,
Oh,
Felipe.
I don't have a problem with celebrating,
Yeah.
but
There you go.
it's my day versus Father's Day. It's our day.
No, it's funny. I think of it as my day.
I do too.
It's my
not
one-
ours.
It's my
mine.
one day a year.
Right. And I know what I'm going to watch every year.
Right.
And I get a little sad on Father's Day because my dad's gone. We were very close, and it was something we always spent Father's Day watching the U.S. Open together. I do love this text, David. I'm a father of 2 with a wonderful wife. I want to be alone.
And that's how I feel. My feeling is this is the one day, more so than your birthday, by the way, Felipe. And I don't know if that's the case. It's just how I feel. I feel this is the one day a year where we can raise our hand and say, hey, all right, this doesn't go to a vote today. All right. The only opinion that matters is mine. This is what I want to eat. This is what I want to do.
And you
All
don't
right.
get away with that on your birthday. If they want to throw you a party, if they want to do a little, they want
Right.
to get you a cake and they want to take you here, you got to do what they want because we're going to take you out for your birthday.
And we're gonna
you
celebrate your
birthday.
Right.
No. Father's Day, leave me the blank alone
Right.
and let me watch golf.
What do you want for Father's Day? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? Nothing.
This gentleman says, Father's Day is where you get a meal cooked by yourself on the grill or tools to fix your family stuff. Mother's Day, you get her jewelry and flowers.
I don't know why I thought of this, but I just love the story of David watching the Giants Patriots Super Bowl and he was being interrupted and he says, what did you say again?
Just for 15 minutes, just pretend I'm not your father.
Yep.
Please, out of any moment.
Another great text friend was asked what he wanted for Father's Day. His response was to be able to play golf on Mother's Day.
Well, remember our big dilemma this year? You know, the Miami F1 race was Mother's Day
Right.
weekend. So that's the poll question. And full disclosure, my answer was, well, publicly, of course, it's to be around family. And then in parenthesis, I voted left alone.
Somewhere out there are mothers who probably play golf by themselves on Mother's
Hey,
Day.
listen, if you're smart, it's a chance to use it for you. Great. You want to be left alone? Great. Because I'd love to be left alone. So this is fantastic. Happy Father's Day, honey.
Hey, my wife, who is the man of our house, make no mistake, in a lot of different ways, but she's now that way on Mother's Day. All she wants on Mother's Day is to have time where she is completely left alone.
Yeah.
If I can take our daughter and leave
For 4
for
to 6
4
hours.
she is so happy.
Right. Yeah. She could take a nap. She
Right.
could read, go swimming, whatever. Yeah.
She wants to get up. She wants to get up. She wants to get some flowers. She wants a kiss from her daughter. She wants to go to church. She wants brunch. And then she wants me to leave her. Until dinner.
I know you love me. And if you want to show me how much you love me, you'd get the hell out of the house.
Be back and cook dinner for
And
me.
you would take everyone else in the house who can speak with you.
Right.
What's funny about this conversation is that it could be due to my Hispanic heritage, but that concept of being left alone on Father's Day is non-existent. Oh, we have to go to lunch and we have to celebrate all the fathers together as a family. I feel bad.
Well,
I feel badly too, because we asked you to get some of this on audio from your grandmother, and I need to hear more of it.
Oh.
I need to hear it in the full accent.
I will call her in the bonus hour. We can get her on the show.
I'm not ready for that just yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we're ready for Grandma on the bonus hour.
Okay.
Because you do know if we get her onto the bonus hour, we're going to ask her about the vehicle. Okay.
Absolutely.
And your mustache.
Right.
She
and-
hates it.
Yeah, of course.
well.
We told you.
What is that thing on your face?
We ask the same question every day, Grandma.
I'm surprised, Grandma, you didn't hold out and make him shave the mustache before you gave him the car, to be honest with you. You're too nice, Grandma. You're too nice. I do want to call Felipe's father during the break, though, and go, hey, what's your vote in the poll question?
I
No,
know what
just-
the vote is now.
just
He
us.
wants to be left alone.
Just us. How about this? How about Miller and Moulton take you and your dad out? What do you say? I mean, we'll bring Felipe if you want.
If we have to.
But, he doesn't really understand. We do. Us men. Us dads.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Texas A&M seeking suspension for Nick Saban.
Reportedly, they asked
Okay.
for him to be suspended and or fined and what have you. And I think Greg Sankey said, yeah, I'll take that under advisement. Sankey's got like a place in the Finger Lakes, I think, in New York. Sure, Sankey's like, yeah, let me think about that.
Wow, as a player and coach, Steve Kerr has won 33% of the last 27 NBA finals.
That's ridiculous.
Well, the other thing that's interesting is he's got rings with 3 different franchises because he had the 3 with the Bulls, but he had the 1 with the Spurs.
Right?
Think he's had a great life?
Who?
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, well, I mean, then again, his dad was murdered when he was in college.
Right.
So
I remember when he talked about that on The Last Dance. That was a good part of the show.
By the way, I can't say this on air, but there is no local commercial that I hate more than the Mercedes-Benz commercials with those 2 kids. Hey, how old are you still holding your Peppa the Pig stuffed animal? What is going on? I mean, Dad, come on, cut. This is enough. You've not seen the Mercedes? It's the 2 kids, the mom and the 2 kids. It must be the sales manager's wife and 2 kids.
no.
Drives me nuts.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about, right, Felipe?
For 30 years. That one?
I don't. It's the wife and the 2 kids.
Oh, on TV.
Yes.
Oh, because there's one on the radio too.
No. The wife and the 2 kids.
Yes. It's so corny. It's so bad. I don't understand why local ads just can't get it right.
Well, I get what they're trying to do, and he this way he can give his kids money and pay them, and they're part of the ad. I get it. I just,
By the way,
find them to be bad.
DC, fuzzy caterpillar to describe my mustache. That's probably the best one. Fuzzy caterpillar.
No,
It's a fuzzy caterpillar.
it's not fuzzy.
It's a little fuzzy. It's got a little fuzz.
Now, remember, we have a 10-minute segment here, so we kind of need the guests queued up when we come out of break.
Yes. Last time we had Glenn Davis on the description for the episodes on podcasts, I put Glenn Davis, not to be confused with Big Baby Davis.
Here you go.
Whoops. Better spell his name right. And David.
No.
Hey, Paul Pierce. You. I hate Paul Pierce.
By the way, I added one too many C's for his Twitter. It's actually Glenn Davis SOC. So my bad there.
That's all right. He pops up on the thing, so I just press it when I'm doing it. So I'm pretty sure I got it right. Yep, I did.
Mm-hmm. Tortorella. I mean, I love torts, but I mean, he'll make them better,
Right.
but it's not the answer, if you know what I mean.
Glenn's on hold.
He'll make them tougher. They'll play harder more nights.
Yeah, DC, he can go poop his pants again.
I don't think that's.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Ray Fittapaldo in less than 20 minutes. We'll talk a little Steelers, re-signing Minkah Fitzpatrick, how the quarterback battle is going. Mike Kelly at the top of the hour to talk a little hockey. Leigh Ellis in an hour to talk some NBA. The Warriors winning their 4th title in 8 seasons. But Glenn Davis is kind enough to join us once again right now. He covers soccer for ESPN, longtime analyst with the Houston Dynamo. He's hosted a podcast for a long time called Soccer Matters. Soccer Matters. You can follow Glenn on Twitter at Glenn Davis Soc, S-O-C. Glenn Davis, S-O-C. Glenn, it's David and Mark. Thanks so much for doing this, particularly at this hour for you. How are you?
Well, David, Mark, I had to be up anyway, and I appreciate being on your show, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on regularly like we have when some good soccer news breaks.
All right. We've got about 10 minutes. There's 2 topics we want to discuss. One, the news from yesterday, the World Cup. Do you like, and obviously you're happy because Houston's one of the 11 cities. Do you like the approach that's being taken here? 16 sites between America, Mexico, Canada, 11 of them in the U.S., and where they've put these matches, not only the cities, but all in NFL stadiums. Do you like what was done yesterday?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're in Washington, D.C., or in a market that didn't get the World Cup, you're not feeling so hot today, I think. But I was so hyper-focused on Houston as a market because I know what it brings when it comes to the sport of soccer. I know the strength of the soccer community, the diversity of it, the size of the city, the gateway to South America, Central America, Mexico. So I was hyper-focused on that. But look, yeah, I like it. I like the fact that it's been spread out around the country. I like the fact that it just wasn't made coastal. I'm glad Kansas City got it. I think that's a tremendous soccer market. Their MLS product is sold out consistently. So I think it was a day of agony and ecstasy for cities. But I mean, the bigger point we can't miss is that this is only the second time the World Cup will ever be held in the United States. So the fact that it's going to be here, what it can do to platform the game in all of these cities that have been picked and around the country in general is really the big takeaway here. And that's only, believe it or not, 4 years away.
And just, Glenn, when you say where it can take soccer, from the last time we were here, this country's grabbed onto soccer far more than they had the last time. We watched the Premier League in ways we've never done. We're taking in this game in more ways and in more platforms than we've ever done before. What does 2026 do for that?
Well, I think every time you get one of these major events and World Cups, and I will even tell you, you guys know this from your market, that even when the World Cup, is going to be held in Qatar, for instance, you're going to have bars packed with people watching. The game takes the spotlight. People have to talk about it that maybe don't always want to talk about it. It lifts everybody's, all what's the saying? All ships rise with the tide, or all boats rise with the tide. I think that's what happens. It's not going to ultimately change everything, but again, it's another great spike for the game. You have parents that are going to take kids to these games in 2026, and it's going to be an indelible moment in their life. I never forget when my father took me in 1974 to Madison Square Garden, sold out. It's all people from the Netherlands and Germany. West Germany was playing the Netherlands in the World Cup final. All foreigners. And I just remember walking in going, man, this is incredible, and basically you're in there to watch a cube which has 4 screens on it in the middle of the New York Knicks court, right? And you're inside a building with 18,000 people, and you're a kid, and you see this passion, and you see the long-haired Dutch come out, and people waving flags, and you never forget it. You never forget it. So the indelible moments that occur are what are pretty amazing to me, because you got to be patient. You got to wait every 4 years.
Well, and Glenn, you've described what is a bucket list item for the two of us. We desperately want to see a World Cup match in 4 years, and it does not matter to us, the city or the match. We just want to take in what you took in nearly 50 years ago. Glenn Davis, who covers soccer for ESPN, Houston Dynamo. The podcast is Soccer Matters. Soccer Matters. Follow him on Twitter, Glenn Davis, SOC. All right. As somebody who's intimate with the MLS, this Apple TV deal, all right, we don't quite know what to make of it. Tell us, because you do Houston Dynamo games locally. I'm trying to think, is this a good thing or not?
Well, I think a lot of us as commentators are still trying to figure out actually how this is all going to work. But I think what we know pretty clearly is, the regional games in local markets with local commentators, that's going away. That's going to go away. I think the shift will then probably go to radio. I think a lot of us will move towards whatever the plan is when it comes to calling games and teams that are going to be put together. I think the big takeaway here from the perspective of potential is obviously the distribution of Apple, right? And all the Apple devices and taking this thing globally. I mean, I think that was the big picture when it comes to this. But for commentators, well, you're going to have to make the cut. And who knows how the cut is going to be made, if it's based on how good people are, or, I always like the competitive side of it, but every business is political. You guys know this as well as I do. Some people are going to probably be saying in Washington this morning, the fact that they didn't get the World Cup, it was political. But I think I'm still really trying to process the whole thing, but my phone is like crazy, what's going to happen. My only worry is that you don't become homogenized without having people on the ground in markets going to practice and things like that. That would be my biggest concern, because I think you do need to be local to really cover sports and get the stories and get the inside. And I'm a little worried about how that goes and how that works.
Well, and I'm with you there, Glenn, because I know they're trying to call MLS part of the Big Five. I think it's still striving to get there. And one of the ways you get there is that intimacy with the local announcer and developing the relationship with players. That, to me, that's part of how you grow the game, is letting the fan in on some things they don't otherwise get unless you are local. Hopefully with Apple, this is something that can remain.
Yeah, that's the big one for me when you lose local broadcasts, and there's a lot of talented, hardworking local broadcasters, and that star building and, the inside, whatever you want to say, or things that, you can't in a studio from far away after talking to two coaches, you can't replicate being at a practice and seeing things through your own lens.
Glenn, got about 30 seconds.
Yes, sir.
To your understanding, because we noticed that every World Cup place is an NFL stadium. Most of these are turf. Yep. Are these matches going to be on turf, or are they going to put grass on top of the turf and then remove it?
Yeah, there'll be no turf. There's no turf. It's all grass.
All right. That was important. Yeah, we thought that would have been a big mistake. Glenn, we know you got a busy day of interviews planned with everyone else. We appreciate you starting it with us.
David, Mark, thank you so much. You got me going today. I got a good cup of coffee here. Thank you for having me on, as always.
Thanks, Glenn.
Glenn Davis, ESPN nationally, Houston Dynamo locally. The podcast is Soccer Matters. Soccer Matters. You can follow him on Twitter at Glenn Davis Soc, S-O-C. Glenn with two N's, Glenn Davis, S-O-C.
And that Apple deal, as you could tell in his voice, he doesn't know if he has a job.
If they were smart, they would hire him to do the Dynamo games on Apple TV. That's what they should do. But we just saw it. You and I are hockey guys. ESPN turned around in-house and said, hey, who wants to do hockey? And they gave a bunch of people who had never done hockey before the gig. TNT turned around and hired hockey play-by-play guys to do hockey. And we can certainly tell the difference in the announcing.
But the difference is TNT has a small roster of broadcasters. ESPN's got thousands of people that are wanting to get different gigs. It was cost effective for them. We don't think it worked.
It'll be interesting to see what approach Apple TV takes going forward. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Games a year for 13 years, it's 9-10. All right. And then you start adding up playoff games
and
then little extra things you did here and there. I mean,
I did over 1,000 games.
You did 1,000 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds stupid, but even like if this run gets to 5 years, if Act 3 gets to 5 years,
Right.
then I will start trying to see what can be done to see if we could get into what has to be done to get us into the Florida Broadcasting Hall of Fame. We go 20 years on the air and start a network, then someone's got to take our case. Doesn't mean we get in.
Right.
So TNT, obviously they hire hockey guys.
They did, yes. They hired play-by-play guys who do hockey.
Do they hire any play-by-play guys from like a specific team?
Yes.
Well, like Kenny Albert is the radio voice of the New York Rangers.
And the guy we had, John Forsland, who did games, is the voice of the Kraken. So yes.
Right.
Yes. But John Forsland is a voice for TNT broadcasts?
Yeah.
He was one of them, yeah.
He was one of their NHL on TNT broadcasters.
They all do other teams.
Yes, they all.
They're not
Right,
just national guys.
But there's no one that ESPN has as a play-by-play person who is the voice of one of the 32 teams.
Well, but they don't have that with any of their other sports either.
Yeah, they do. Mike Green.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And I think that's
Well, with baseball,
no,
like I don't know if they still use them, but they did. Like Boog Shambi does the Cubs, and he does play-by-play for ESPN baseball. And
what's this guy's name? He does a lot of WNBA. He does Nets sometimes. It's not Iron Eagle. He does WNBA finals, I think. It's like, it's good. I don't know.
That was a pretty pass right there.
yeah,
Did you see the one by Draymond where he led Klay Thompson?
Mhm.
That was a dime.
I thought Clay's to Wiggins was better.
Oh yeah, that was
The bounce pass for the reverse layup. I just thought that was a small window that he got that through.
Andrew Wiggins.
Joe Buck's not with Fox. And no, Joe Buck was not going to call the World Cup. It's in Qatar. And if Joe was still with Fox, he would take him out of the country for over a month, which means he couldn't have done NFL. And I think also the World Cup interferes with the World Series. So, no, Joe Buck was definitely not going to be part of the World Cup coverage if he had stayed with Fox.
It is going to be really weird watching a Monday night broadcast and hearing Buck and Aikman. That's going to be weird.
This is a perspective I don't have. So, I have to listen to, this is where the audience knows far more than I do. Because,
I don't know if to me it'll be more Sunday afternoons than Monday night. I watch so little Monday night football, and I'm not joking. Like, I was so footballed out by Monday night, and the games are typically so bad that I don't watch a lot of Monday night football. And I watched far more Manning. Like, to me, what am I going to watch? The Manning cast or these guys?
That's a good point.
And I'm not sure how many Manning casts there are. There were 7 last year. I think there's going to be a couple more this year, but I think it's only like half the games.
But those Manning cast numbers will tank.
They what?
No.
Because of Buck and Aikman.
Why?
Well, I'm not sure about that. I don't know that it'll impact at all.
I don't know if Monday Night Football numbers go up with Buck and Aikman.
I think they do. I'm going to call Ray now, but apparently the new Madden game, the early reviews for it, it's John Madden on the cover. They say it's the best Madden game they've ever made. I'm buying that. What would be cool is if they put a mode where John Madden can broadcast the game. That'd be cool.
Well, that would have been remarkable.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mike Kelly from NHL Network at the top of the hour. Lightning, it's not a must win, but it's a step away from that. Tomorrow night in Denver, down 1-0 to the Avs in the finals. Leigh Ellis, an hour from now, will put the NBA playoffs to bed. Draft is Thursday. Free agency is just a couple weeks away. Ray Fittapaldo is kind enough to join us once again. He covers the Steelers, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. You can follow Ray on Twitter, Ray Fit with 2 T's 1. Ray Fit 1. Ray, it's David and Mark once again. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing well.
All right. Take us in to the quarterbacks. They drafted Kenny in the first round. That was after they signed Trubisky. Mason Rudolph's kind of the holdover. How are they handling snaps? Who's the one? Does Pickett really have a shot at this gig? Take us into the quarterback room.
Well, they had 2 weeks of OTAs, 1 week of mini camp, and Mitch Trubisky took every rep with the ones. So that should tell you where things are going. They're going to have a quote-unquote quarterback competition during training camp, but everything is lined up for Trubisky to be the guy. Now, the interesting part of how they handled this in the spring, Mason Rudolph took the second-team reps and Kenny Pickett the third-team reps. I would expect that to change during training camp. Cannot imagine Kenny Pickett would not at least be the backup on this team, so not exactly sure how they're going to approach that in camp, but I would expect by the end of camp, Pickett to be the number 2 and Mason Rudolph likely to be on the trading block.
How long do you think this scenario will last? Do you think Pickett has a chance to play this year, or do you think this is a sit and wait and try to get him ready for whether it's 23 or 24 or whenever it's ready, or is this going to be dictated by Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, I think honestly, Pickett's going to have a big say-so in this, but also Mitch Trubisky. If you look at the way the Steelers' schedule shapes up, tough first half of the season. So Trubisky's going to have some challenges there. They had their bye week, week 9. I would imagine if they're struggling as a team at that point, as an offense at that point, that's the perfect opportunity to insert Kenny Pickett into the starting lineup. There's so many schools of thought on this. I mean, you can do, what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes and let him sit and learn for an entire year. That worked out great for the Chiefs. There's different scenarios where young guys have played early and, it hasn't hurt them. So I think they got Trubisky for a reason. I think they want him to, play at least early in the season, and then, they'll see how it goes. But I don't expect to see Kenny Pickett until at least November as a starter.
Well, Ray, let's be honest. I mean, any quarterback may struggle. Forget the schedule. I mean, let's talk about the personnel on offense. They seem to only have one really good running back. They always have multiple good wide receivers, but the line's still a big question mark, isn't it?
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys saw it this week, but after Minkah Fitzpatrick signed, they now have the top paid defense in the NFL. They spend more money on defense than any other team, and they spend the fewest amount of dollars on offense. So that's where this team is right now. There are question marks across that offensive roster. They did try to make some upgrades by going out and getting guard James Daniels from the Bears. They got Mason Cole from the Vikings to be their center. So they're hoping the offensive line can be better. I mean, it's been so bad for years, but they're trying to at least address that. Najee Harris, I think, is one of the best young backs in the league. And you mentioned the receivers. Their receivers are always good, but this is also a position group that's in transition right now. They let Juju Smith-Schuster go, Ray McLeod signed with the 49ers, James Washington with the Cowboys. So they're going to be counting on some younger guys. Deontay Johnson is still around for at least one more year, but, they drafted George Pickens out of Georgia in the second round. They drafted Calvin Austin the third out of Memphis in the fourth round. And I would expect both of those guys to be contributors as rookies just because their numbers aren't all that great a receiver.
We're going to see Trubisky run the ball. I mean, from the way that you're describing what this offense is like in the line and young receivers and a great running back in Harris, there's no doubt there that could Pittsburgh have a shift in how the offense runs? I mean, obviously with no Ben, he's not going to stand back there anymore, but are we seeing a modernization of the Pittsburgh offense this year?
I think so. I think they would love to be more balanced, and they've talked about it for the last 5 years, but they just haven't had the horses up front on the offensive line to get it done. There's a crazy stat out there where since 2018, they've finished 25th or lower in rushing offense. I mean, they've had a terrible time trying to run the ball. So that's their big goal. I mean, for this Matt Canada offense to be successful, you have to be able to run the football, and then he'll do play action passing off that. He'll do boots off that. And obviously a guy like Trubisky or Kenny Pickett is going to be much more adept at running that offense than Ben Roethlisberger was late in his career. So, Ben did fine for the final couple years of his career. They kind of tailored the playbook to do what he could still do. But I think this year we're going to see the full Matt Canada playbook, and they're hoping they'll have some better results with scoring and with where they are in the offensive stats.
Ray Fittapaldo, he covers the Steelers, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. You can follow Ray on Twitter, Ray Fit with 2 T's. Ray Fit and the number 1. Ray Fit 1, Ray Fittapaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Listen, Trubisky's known as like a great guy. He was very popular in Buffalo for just 1 year. I mean, they still, this offseason, have invited him back to, like team get-togethers and what have you. Very popular. If I was Trubisky, however, I'd be annoyed by the drafting of Kenny Pickett. I mean, I chose the Steelers over the Giants because I thought I'm the starter. This is my team. I could have gone to New York and dealt with a first-round draft pick at quarterback and fighting for playing time. How has he handled the drafting of Pickett?
He's handled it very well in front of the cameras and in front of the mics. But I think you're right. I think on a certain level, personally, I think he has to feel not threatened, but, he knows there's going to be challenges here for him to be the long-term starting quarterback. I mean, the only avenue for that to happen now is if he just goes and plays lights out and leads them, to the playoffs and, he gets another chance. His decision-making on this, we all know Brian Dable went to the Giants. He probably could have gone there. I think he was strictly looking at this opportunity as a chance to play in 2022, for him to reestablish himself as a starter. It's hard. You go to Buffalo to be a backup for 1 year, that's fine. But you don't want to fall completely off the radar. So I think he knew if he went to the Giants, Daniel Jones, they were committed to him for at least one more year. I think he saw this opportunity in Pittsburgh. At least I'll get a shot to play early, and if I play well, I'll continue to be the starter. But, I think anywhere that, a guy like Trubisky goes, a guy who's trying to reestablish his football career, it's going to be a challenge for him no matter what. But, interesting dynamic, and it's, we'll see how it plays out with the Steelers.
Ray, you mentioned it's the number one paid defense. Do you think they overspent to keep Minka there? Do you think do you like that contract?
They love Minka. They view Minka the same way they view T.J. Watt. And I'm not saying T.J. Watt is the best defensive player in the NFL, but they view Minka in the same way. So we're talking about character traits, leadership. I think he's one of the top 5 safeties in the NFL. So listen, people say, oh, he's the highest paid safety now. Well, Jesse Bates is going to surpass him, and Derwin James is going to surpass him probably within the next couple of months. So I think with all that new TV money coming in, I think they'll look at this contract in 2 to 3 years. They'll be very happy with it. Minka was great his first year here. Very, very good the last 2 years, but his role changed because their defense changed, and he wasn't able to be that turnover machine that he was his first season here. So they're very happy with him. They're very happy with that contract. I think that's why it got done so early. It's very rare for the Steelers to get one of their big star players done early in June. These types of contracts usually get done in September. And I think that speaks to Minka, wanting to get it done, but also the Steelers being committed to him and wanting to get it done as well.
Ray, final question. We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and you tell us if we're off base. The roster from 1 to 53. Is this the first time, maybe, I don't know, since the late 60s, that we could say that the Steelers roster is not better than anyone else in the division? I don't know if it's worse, but that when you look at the other 3 teams in the division and you look at their rosters and you look at the Steelers roster, that you're not inclined to pick the Steelers, if you know what I mean, that they seem vulnerable.
I think that's fair. And I think that honestly, that happens sometimes when you have like a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback retire like Ben did. They're going to be competitive. They always strive to be that. They wouldn't be going out and making all these moves on defense the last couple of years if they didn't believe they could still make the playoffs. But there is some truth in what you say. I think the biggest key this year will be quarterback play within that division. We all know, barring injury, Lamar Jackson's going to have a good year. Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. He's going to be great. To me, if you're going to push for like a wild card spot among the among the Browns and the Steelers, it's going to come back down to the quarterback play. So Trubisky, Pickett, can they be better than Deshaun Watson / whoever else is going to play there once he gets suspended? So I think it's one of the better divisions in the AFC. I think the AFC is stacked this year. So it's going to be very, very tough. And as always, it's going to come back down to the quarterback play when it's all said and done. Just curious,
I know you cover the Steelers, not the Browns, but you cover the league. How long do you think Deshaun Watson's going to get?
A month ago when things were kind of quiet, I thought it might be 6 or 8 games. I think it's going to be a year now. I don't see a scenario where he can play this year. This is just too much bad PR for the NFL. These leaks keep coming, and I would think probably by July early to mid-July. I think Goodell's probably going to have to come down and make a ruling on this. And right now, my gut feeling says he'll be suspended for the entire year.
Ray, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. Be safe, stay well. Hopefully we can talk during training camp.
Absolutely, guys. Talk to you later.
Ray Fittapaldo, he covers the Steelers, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Follow him on Twitter, Ray Fit with 2 T's, Ray Fit, the number 1. I just wanted to check in Pittsburgh because of the quarterback situation, like he mentioned. They did 2 OTAs and a mini camp, so now next time they get together is training camp and just, how's it going with Trubisky? How does Pickett look? He mentioned the stat, which we were holding on to with the Minkah Fitzpatrick signing. No team is spending more on defense than the Steelers, and no team is spending less on offense than the Steelers.
Now, with Trubisky and Pickett, they're not spending any money at the quarterback position, which is largely the reason why.
And they let their 2 highest paid wide receivers leave.
Right. They got a rookie run. You're still running back on a rookie deal.
Exactly. Right. And obviously,
most of their lines retired because it was 167 years old.
And they don't have a single offensive lineman that anybody else wants, so they're not paying them any money.
When you're saying we got a guy from the Bears to help us out.
Right. Right. On offense.
Trubisky's going, we brought what?
Wait a minute. This guy couldn't block for me before. What? I mean, I'm not going to say that out loud, but damn. So,
speaking of things you can't say out loud, vote on our poll question. Would you rather spend Father's Day with your family or being left alone?
Remember, poll question. It's anonymous. You know how you voted. You don't have to share. Hell, you can even lie.
59% of you say that would rather spend time with your family. 41% of you are telling the truth. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FL Sports Network on Twitter or FloridaSportsNetwork.com to vote on today's poll question. If you want to text the show, text the keyword FSN Radio to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000. Once you've done that, you're in, and you can text as much or as little as you would like.
Mike Kelly, NHL Network, to join us coming up after the top of the hour. Kind of a key game tomorrow night, wouldn't you say, for the Lightning? And coming back from 2-0 against the Rangers, hell, you and I both called that one. Going back 2-0 against the Avs. It's a totally different animal. Mike Kelly, NHL Network next. Miller Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
DJ tees off. DJ just teed off.
I love Anthony Rizzo's swing. So clean. No, I am wearing a Team USA shirt, actually. Oh, we got not top plays. Oh, this flop was crazy.
There.
That's not as bad as the one. It's not as bad as the one the Lightning or the Rays guy dropped 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I know, which killed them.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed them. Oh,
Doink. I hate the new finals trophy so much.
I didn't pay attention to it.
It's different.
They changed it up a little bit.
Oh.
Subtle, but noticeable.
It's the worst of the 4 trophies, so it doesn't really matter.
No, I think it's better than the MLB trophy. I like the concept of the MLB trophy.
MLB trophy looks good. I've seen it up. I've like stood next to it.
Same.
It's pretty cool.
The Larrabee's got the gold. Calling him now. We're back in 5.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton. For those of you in Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice, Lake City and surrounding areas, halfway home for those in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We've had some fun at my expense. I backed up the truck on the Celtics last night.
And the truck ran you over.
Yep. I need lunch. I do. I'm in need of, I don't have much left. All right. I have the clothes on my back and not much else. So I was wrong on that, but you and I are convinced that Tampa Bay was getting out of Denver at 1-1. That means they've got to win tomorrow night. Mike Kelly, who covers the NHL for NHL Network. You can follow Mike on Twitter at Mike Kelly NHL. Mike, it's David and Mark once again. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Well, we are doing fine, and I guess we're wondering, so like in basketball, Curry had the horrible Game 5, and yet the Warriors won. That should have been a big sign for somebody like me. They're probably in good shape going forward. The Lightning did not play well. Vasilevsky gave up at least one goal he doesn't normally give up, and yet they lost in overtime. So should we feel pretty good about the Lightning or no?
That's a great question, and I think I would feel good. If I was a Lightning fan, I would feel good. The Vasilevsky, the goals against him, one was kind of deflected off the stick, right, that beat him 5-hole. And it looks, in real time, it looks like a wrist shot that he should just have. And I never like to be one of those people that says, oh, it was deflected, so the goalie had no chance. Like, okay, well, there's lots of shots that are deflected. If they're all just going to go in, you're not going to be in the league very long. So, you know what? He started a little slow, but so did the team, and that's fine. And he was really good for most of that game. And we know how he struggled in game ones in these playoffs. We know how much better he's gotten as series has gone on. So I think because if I'm a Lightning fan, here's where I'm excited. I watched Tampa Bay play a game that they did not have their best effort by far. They turned a lot of pucks over. They played sloppy. They played slow in the beginning. There were so many turnovers trying to exit their zone that they just, every time they looked up, there was an Avalanche player right on them. They haven't faced a team with the kind of team speed Colorado has. And that really disrupted their breakouts. That caused to a lot of turnovers. It caused to transition turnovers as well. They'll be better in that area. I guarantee it. They've had 2 days. Well, they'll have 2 days before game 2. They're going to be quicker with their puck movement, maybe flip more pucks up into the neutral zone, get out of trouble. The fact that they went to overtime with that game, which is far from their best, would be encouraging if I'm a Tampa fan.
Well, if I were to flip it the other way on you, Mike, is a lot of those turnovers in their own zone were created by Colorado's forecheck. And the one thing I know between now and game 2 is Colorado's not going to get any slower. This is as fast of a team as Tampa's seen really since Toronto, and I think they have more team speed than Toronto does. How much of the turnovers in their own zone and getting out, in your estimation, were created by Colorado and versus how many were just simply Tampa being a little rusty, which we thought would have been the opposite after the long layoff for the Lanch?
Yeah, no, a vast majority were created by Colorado. I give them full credit. You just think about the overtime goal. You've got Val Nichushkin pressuring Victor Hedman, and a stretch pass attempt gets knocked down. And then you've got Sergachev getting pressured, and another stretch pass attempt into the neutral zone gets knocked down and comes back into your end, and then the game's over. So I give a lot of credit to Colorado. Like a couple areas that were noticeable to me when I go through these numbers and look at this. When Tampa tried to pass the puck to exit the defensive zone, they were only successful 35% of those passes, which was down 35% from the first 3 rounds. When Tampa tried to complete a stretch pass, so that's from the D zone beyond the red line, they were only successful 43% of the time, which was down almost 50% from the first 3 rounds. and they turned the puck over 10 times in the neutral zone compared to 2 from Colorado. Those were the significant numbers for me. And that's all disruption by the Avalanche of forechecking. And I don't mean forechecking in the traditional sense of, dump it in and go pin their defenseman on the boards, which there's some of that, but forechecking in terms of active defensive sticks and plays when Tampa Bay is trying to move the puck out of their zone. The Avs did such a good job of that. But Tampa will make adjustments, and whether that's, positionally being a little bit different in their breakouts or just flipping pucks when they need to better as opposed to trying to make plays that aren't there, they'll be better in that area. But I give a ton of credit to Colorado.
Talking the Stanley Cup Finals with Mike Kelly, NHL Network. Follow Mike on Twitter, Mike Kelly, NHL. Mike, and, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my amateur eyes, what Tampa did to the Rangers wanted those long stretch passes. They wanted to go east-west a lot. And the Lightning said, guys, you're going to have to go small portions, north-south, to the sides along the boards, or else you have no chance. And the Rangers were not good enough to do it. I thought Colorado did to Tampa what Tampa did to the Rangers, that the Lightning were trying for the long stretch passes, and they were trying for the big breakouts, and they kept turning the puck over, and that Colorado said to Tampa, guys, you're going to have to go along the board, short passes, get to the neutral zone, dump it in. And it seemed like Tampa wasn't willing to play that way.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good eye by you. Tampa Bay, I think they completed off the top of my head about 6 stretch passes. I think it was 6 in game 1. Which is less than half of what they would usually complete. They like to, whether it's flip a puck out and battle for it in the neutral zone or just execute a stretch pass, they like to do that. And you're right, Tampa Bay had a real difficult time against Colorado. And, that's where the Avs probably don't get enough credit is defensively how good they are. We talk about their offense all the time. We talk about their high-end skill all the time, but they use their team speed off the puck to get back and to close gaps and to make plays defensively so incredibly well. And, it ended up being a game that didn't have a ton of great chances really on both sides. Colorado had more, but from the most dangerous scoring area on the ice, it was a low event game in that sense. But yeah, the Avs, they did a phenomenal job. But the one thing about John Cooper and Tampa Bay, and we've seen this all playoffs, we've seen this over the years, they'll know exactly what it was that gave them trouble, and they'll know exactly what they need to do to give themselves a better chance in the next game. So I won't be shocked if we come out with a split, even if Tampa Bay doesn't, though. I don't know how you guys felt when they were down 2-0 against the Rangers. I was thinking, I wouldn't be that nervous because they're perfectly capable of coming back from 2-0, coming back from 3-1. We've seen this team and what they can do. But I love the first games from an entertainment standpoint. It was if we're going to get 6 more of those, I think we're going to have a great time watching this final.
Boy, I hope you're right. And Mike, we are with you as far as the Rangers series when it was 2-0. But I think we would all agree going down 2-0 against the Rangers is very different than going down 2-0 against this Colorado team. And one of the things that I think you're going to have to get out of Tampa Saturday and tell me where you think is that Hedman did not, for Victor Hedman, that was a bad game. That wasn't even an average game for Hedman. And Stamkos did not have a good game. They beat the Rangers because their best players were great. They're going to need that in game 2.
Yeah, for sure. And there are a couple goals where Victor Hedman, the turnover, I don't even know turnover, but just failed to execute a play successfully, and it led to the puck going into the back of the Lightning net. And he's tasked with doing so much, playing so much, like any top defenseman. He's going to be out there all the time, and these things are going to happen sometimes. But yeah, I think that's fair, just given where the bar is for him and where he sets it for himself. It wasn't one of his better games by any means. He'll be better, I'm sure. Cale Makar he had a couple little flashes in the game where, the puck was on his stick and he's winding it up and moving it in the O zone, and you're thinking, oh, here we go. But compared to his standards, probably wasn't one of his better games either. there's a lot of talent in the series for sure. And I think the exciting part is knowing that in any given game, any one of these guys can pop off, and it won't be every guy every game. But there's so much talent, which makes it even more impressive to me that, Val Nichushkin comes out and ends up standing out as the player of the game, really. What he did defensively in that game was outstanding. And I talked about how he helped set up the first goal, the defensive play, the overtime goal. He had 5 scoring chances off the rush. That's the most any player's had in a playoff game all year. So engaged in that game. I think we're going to have, for every game in this series, star players, kind of mid-tier players, but there's going to be people that really put their stamp on it because there's so many guys that are capable of doing it.
Mike, thanks for making time for us once again. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the finals.
All right, you guys too. It should be incredible. So I'm wishing the game was tonight, not tomorrow. But...
I'm with you, Mike. We love the every other day hockey thing. That's for sure. Good luck, Mike.
All right, thanks.
Mike Kelly, NHL Network. And he's an analytics guy also. So that's why, he had those percentages, about 35% effective, getting out of the zone, which is an awful number for any hockey team, but never mind an elite one like the Lightning. And with their defensive core, they're used to moving the puck out of zones with one easy pass.
They'll have to adjust to Colorado's speed. And everybody that watches this sport for a living seems to think that they will be able to. Interested to see first period of game 2, because Tampa was really flat in the first period. So they're going to need a better effort right from the get-go.
Mike Kelly NHL is how you follow Mike on Twitter. By the way, one other NHL note, and we've got breaking news, a developing story, which we will get to after the break. But, we talk ratings here, and the NHL, most leagues are like, listen, take the last 2 years out. Those are pandemic numbers and sports being played at different months and what have you. So a lot of rating comparisons, Mark, go back to 2019. Well, that was the St. Louis Blues Boston Bruins Stanley Cup final. So Colorado Tampa versus St. Louis Boston.
Boston, one of the best hockey markets, if not the best hockey market television-wise in this country.
But Denver against the 2-time defending champions, and how would it rate? St. Louis Boston did over 1 million more viewers for game 1.
I was stunned when I heard that.
Than game 1 for Colorado and Tampa. So it did about 5.5 million 3 years ago. It did around 4.5 million this time around, which is only 1/3 basically of the NBA's ratings. So we'll see if this picks up beginning tomorrow night. Miller and Moulton, breaking news on the other side.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Thank you. What are you doing? Get up. Go.
Couldn't even last 5 seconds.
None of this. Get your own camera.
Really?
Victor Hovland with an early birdie. He's going to be tough this week, David.
I love him.
I do too.
I would love to see. He seems more of a win the Masters PGA kind of a guy, or
I don't know. I just think he's got all kinds of game. Zinger made a comment, basically guys that aren't top 15 in iron play, greens and regulation. You're not top 15 in greens and regulation, you're not going to win this tournament. And I don't mean like in the week. He just means going, stats going into the week, if you will. I forgot how many they went back that they're all in the top whatever in greens and regulation. I'm happy. I never can tell with this when you usually on Twitter, when you put the proper hashtag, it puts the little thing up. I can't tell on this tweet deck. I know it's stupid, but when you see like the Stanley Cup and the Steelers thing, I want the logos on them. If you do the hashtag, here we go, it puts the Steelers logo on.
Oh, okay.
The gold boats,
Stanley Cup, the
right?
cup appears.
And like I just did, like for the last one, I did the gold bolts, and it gives you their logo. Try to act like I know what I'm doing when it's all a fucking mirage.
So that's apparently.
I've seen.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Father's Day on Sunday, Mark. What's our poll question?
You had your choice.
Be honest. Be honest.
Would you rather be left alone or spend Sunday with your family?
We all know what you're going to say publicly. Certainly if they're within earshot. But come on now. This is a chance for you to, let your feelings be known. And listen, if you're a family guy, nothing means more to me than family. And just every waking moment, if I could, then, vote accordingly.
Right now, alone leading 52 to 48%.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good solid vote there. All right. That's what we like to hear. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter, FL Sports Network on Twitter, and floridasportsnetwork.com is where you go to vote. Leigh Ellis to wrap up the NBA Finals in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Congratulations to the Warriors. Their 7th title in franchise history, which is 3rd most, behind just the Lakers and the Celtics. Now, 2 of those titles when the Warriors were in Philadelphia. Then you had the Rick Barry Golden State Warriors title in 75, and then the 4 in the last 8 seasons. They have had an interesting run here in recent years. They lose in the finals in 2019 when Clay and Durant get hurt, and then no Durant in 2020. Clay's hurt all year. Steph got hurt. They had the worst record in the league.
Right.
Now, 2 years later, they're NBA champs.
Let's say for some stupid reason they repeat. Are they a greater dynasty than the Showtime Lakers?
It'd be a hell of a discussion because the Lakers had 5 titles, during that stretch. 80, 82, 85, 87? Maybe it was just 4.
No, I thought it was 5. Magic is not a 5-time NBA champion.
Huh. Let's see, 80 and 82, they beat the Sixers. 83, 84, they lost. They won in 85, they won in 87. Oh, they repeated 88, beat the Pistons in 7, right? So, and they lost in the finals in 83 and 84 and 89. So it's not only that they won 5, they went to 8 in a 10-year stretch.
Well, so do the Warriors.
Well, right. That's why I said if they were to do that and repeat, although they have repeated, they did it in 2017, 2018. They went back to back. But, yeah, that would be fascinating. Same number of titles as the Lakers and in a similar period of time. That would be fascinating.
I mean, the Warriors are already in conversation with the LeBron dynasty. Of course, a dynasty being one person, I guess.
Right. That's why it's called the LeBron dynasty. But hats off to the Warriors. Steph got his MVP. And the Celtics looked, tired, broken. I mean, I will say they had to go 7 against Milwaukee, had to go 7 against Miami. We talk about it in hockey, Mark, at the end of the Tampa Bay Rangers series. A lot of people thought the Rangers, after having to go 7-7, looked whooped at the end of the Lightning series. Maybe Boston was whooped. Maybe Milwaukee and Miami just, softened them up just enough that they couldn't get to the finish line. Who knows?
But they looked dead last night.
They did.
They looked absolutely spent. And as we mentioned, do they need a different approach at the point guard position because it did not work? No. Tatum just did not get it done. Turned the ball over way too much.
Smart didn't get it done either. They don't have a true point guard. And will they feel as if they need to go get one? Or do they just need to rest up, find out who was playing through injuries, and give it another shot with what they have?
But David, you said we've got breaking news when we come back. You teased that heading into the break. Breaking news.
Right.
And I'm going to let you give the breaking news because I'm stunned that you would go there.
Well, it's not breaking news to me because I don't care. I don't. I don't at all. I'm just thinking that maybe some of our audience cares.
I think they may, but we don't ever go here.
No.
That's why I was stunned.
I mean, it's not a sport.
You.
But that doesn't mean that sports fans don't pay attention to wrestling.
Right. Neither Father's Day is not a sport either. We spent a little time talking about that today. So why not mix it in?
But Vince McMahon is the WWE.
Correct.
And it's come out in the last week or so that he had an affair. And that there were then whispers that he paid $3 million in hush money to make the lady go away, and so that this would never come out publicly. And obviously it didn't work because we found out about the affair and found out about the money. And apparently, is he suspended? Did he resign?
Well, he steps aside as the WWE CEO. His daughter Stephanie takes over as the interim CEO and interim chairwoman. He will still continue to head up their
matches.
Yes,
right. So
essentially.
He's going to control the storylines.
Right.
And she gets to
run the business.
Okay. Is this different than like when Daniel Snyder stepped aside so that his wife could, be the front person with the commanders there? I mean,
well, I guess not much. I mean, the board's looking into this possible affair and the payoff and all the things that are going on, and if there was anything done wrong.
Because it's publicly traded, right?
Right.
So it was not his money to pay.
And it apparently he says they say he's used all his own money for that. But again, we'll find out more. He has been Grand Poobah.
Well, yeah.
He is the WWE.
Yeah. He took it over from his dad, the whole deal. You got to remember, I haven't paid attention to wrestling since The Rock. I mean, literally 20 plus years. I have not paid attention. I have no interest. Now, I'm trying to pay attention to this whole, con AEW actually competing because I like the story. It's like the LIV. I'm paying attention because I like the story. Wow. A golf league that's going to compete with the PGA Tour. I'm a sports talk show host. This is interesting to me. This whole AEW. Wow. Is there enough wrestling fans? Could you put together a league that can seriously challenge the WWE? Apparently, from what I read, they've done a pretty good job.
I mean, there's always been room, David, since Georgia Championship Wrestling back in the 70s. There's always room for a competing wrestling faction out there, David.
Mark, where are the shows going to be this week?
We'll be in Columbus, Georgia at the high school on Thursday night. We'll be in Macon on Friday night and Saturday at the Omni in Atlanta.
It's WCW, right?
Yeah.
How was the turnout at Hertz for AEW?
Oh, it's always sold out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
really?
always, whenever wrestling comes to Southwest Florida, it's sold out. Listen, I think when wrestling comes, well, they had, their big show at Ray J.
Right.
I mean, and it was
we love our wrestling in Florida.
It was 2 days, wasn't it? Wasn't it a 2-day thing?
You're really.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
The wrong tree
I thought
right
it was
now.
2 days.
Because if you've not watched any, I've watched even less.
I understand that, but so we know they're trying not to be, trying to respect the public here. Just because I don't watch, doesn't mean it's not news. It's it's not a big deal. I mean, if Vince McMahon, most people thought the next time Vince McMahon was not going to be involved in the WWE is because he died. So if he's going to get pushed out, I got to think that's going to hurt.
He may end up in Community Center on Tuesday.
Which organization appeared at the smaller venues? Because I saw the Harlem Globetrotters at Linden High School back in the day.
They were battling one another for who could play the smaller venue. And now that's our job, Miller and Moulton.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What is Channel Side Sports? Oh, all digital.
Check out this pub in Colorado. Nice.
Wow.
I missed that. What was it? I know. We mentioned WWE and our Twitch audience. What up?
It was a bar in Colorado where they have a lightning jersey as you walk in on the ground.
Everybody steps on. Okay. Yeah, there you go.
Right. I get to control a segment if the Lions win. That might have been Seth's best line on this show.
Yep. I know. Can you believe? I'm shocked he said it.
Stunned. Shocked he said it. I didn't realize I did that under the Florida Sports Network one. That's what happens when I'm running 2 Twitter accounts in the morning. I meant to do that off of mine. Such is life. Because I would have said it's one thing for Miller and Moulton to say it if I'd have done it on that one.
I did not see this. So apparently that was on a countdown show. Okay. They were talking about.
Oh, okay.
And so
That's why Steph was doing the yeah. I saw that.
apparently all the receipts were kept. Nice.
Meetings suck, Wancho. You know, it's too bad nobody from ESPN decided to go all Golden State with all their analytics. I mean, you'd think one of them would have been the contrarians telling the analytics to stuff it and taking Golden State.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they do as a network.
And
Someone's the contrarian.
Experience and okay. Although I thought Legler picked.
Did he? I don't
know. He's not.
He's so B team now anyhow.
Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until the top of the hour. Final segment of Miller and Moulton for those of you in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour at the top of the hour for those in Southwest Florida. Thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you miss any of our earlier interviews, Glenn Davis talking soccer, Ray Fittapaldo talking Steelers, and the rookie quarterback, and Mitchell Trubisky, and Minka signing. A couple segments ago with Mike Kelly talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. You can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download the show. And our interview with Leigh Ellis will be there in a matter of minutes. Co-host of the Athletics No Dunks NBA podcast. You can follow Leigh on Twitter, Leigh, Leigh Ellis. Leigh, it's David and Mark once again. I'm sure you're a little sleep deprived, but how are you?
Yeah, I am a little sleep deprived, no question about it. But it's always the way after the last game of the season, and last night was no different. But very impressive stuff from the Warriors for everything that they had to do to get to this point. They started off the season well, but they had plenty of obstacles to overcome. Steph started off great, then he gets injured. Draymond gets injured. Clay comes back after 2.5 years off, and at times the Warriors look good, and at other times you thought, you know what, I just don't think they can get there. But in the end, the experience really did shine, I think, in these last couple of games here. And Steph and Clay and Draymond and even Kevon Looney now have another championship to celebrate. And congratulations to them. They deserve it all because it's an incredible journey that they've been on together. They've had questions at times. And, people even sort of diminish a couple of the championships there with the Kevin Durant one. But ultimately, there's nothing you can take away from them. They're the champs. And this is another feather in the cap of Steph Curry and his legacy, and it was incredible to watch.
Well, Leigh, talk about his legacy. Now he gets the MVP. He's got the titles. Just where do you place Steph Curry all time with this title and the MVP? How much does his legacy change after last night?
Yeah, look, to be perfectly honest with you, the Finals MVP doesn't really change his legacy for me because he already had the championships and he already had the MVPs from the regular season. And the Finals MVP is a nice addition. So it's great for him to have one. But ultimately, Kevin Durant won 2, and there was no real debate there. He was great. And Andre Iguodala, of course, there was a little bit of a question mark over that one. But Steph was already very well established in the all-time greats. I mean, me personally, I've probably got him in that top 10, top 12 range, somewhere in that. I mean, it's all tongue-in-cheek. It's all basically how you rate those guys and who you have at the top of your top of the food chain there. But, I have obviously Michael and LeBron like most people have at the top, and then it's a mixture of your Kareems and your Wilts and, whoever you want to sort of basically put after that, depending on which era you grew up in and where you're from as well. I think that impacts it. But I think there's no question that Steph is somewhere in that in that top 10 where he is right now, top 10 to 12. But also, he's not done. I mean, there's no reason to think that the Warriors can't still compete for championships here for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons for a couple of reasons. One, it's the same group that's got them there this whole time, and they've overcome the injuries. The ownership group there in Golden State as well, in San Francisco, they've backed up, they've put their money where their mouth is, and they really have put the money, the financial resources into this team, not just in terms of the playing personnel, but off court as well, how they've heavily invested to try to make sure they have the best in every aspect of the NBA. And the other factor is really, again, the Warriors, they've been there. They know how to win, and they've also know how to overcome, the regular season doesn't count for all that much when you're the Warriors. You just need to get to the playoffs and get healthy, and then you can figure things out, and they've done that. So, Steph, he's going to be playing at this level for at least another 4 or 5 years, I think. And in that time, I wouldn't be surprised if he banks another championship or two. So when he is all said and done, he certainly could be hovering around that top 5 of all time. And again, I mean, there's no official list, of course. It's only barroom arguments and radio show arguments and stuff. But there's no question he's got a very, very strong claim to be in that top 10 group right now.
Leigh Ellis, co-host of the Athletics No Dunks NBA podcast. Follow Leigh on Twitter, Leigh Ellis. Leigh Ellis joining us here on Miller and Moulton. It's funny, Leigh, I viewed this run as the last time I think I'm going to see this nucleus of Warriors in the finals. That Clay, Draymond, Steph, all in their 30s. And yes, I know they're spending over $300 million on their payroll with the tax and all that, and there's no one that they won't acquire. Clearly, they're as much all into winning as any franchise, maybe even more so. But, they won 53 games this year. There was no great team this year in the NBA. The only one that won 60 or more was Phoenix. In theory, Denver's going to get 2 of their big 3 healthy next year and be better. Dallas is probably only going to be better. Don't know if Phoenix is going to take a step back. I view this as maybe this nucleus's last championship run. You say I'm completely wrong.
Well, look, I mean, this nucleus, I think, again, they're still, well, you mentioned they're in the 30s, no question about that. And they have had injuries, all 3 of them, as far as Steph, Draymond, and Clay. But if you look at the bench right now for the Warriors, Jordan Poole, he's already shown that he's taking the right steps. I mean, he's still not polished in his game, but he's a pretty good player. Then you've got Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman. These guys are on the bench who, Wiseman, obviously, he barely played at all this season. But I think we saw some good things from Kuminga. I think we saw some good things from Moses Moody at times. So the Warriors have, while they've been still on top here with that same group that's been there for the last, 8 to 10 years, they've also been restocking quite well in terms of their youth movement. So I expect in the next couple of seasons, some of these guys to start getting more minutes and having a bigger role. So as the older guys start to move on, the younger guys come through. And then you do have potentially that really nice blend of experience and youth, which I think every team is looking for. I mean, again, I mentioned Jordan Poole because he really came on this season. He had a really good season. So he slots in. So next year, are we going to see that from a Kuminga, or is it going to be a Moses Moody or somebody else? Because the Warriors, 2 seasons ago, remember, they finished with the worst record in the NBA with only winning 15 games, and they managed to get the second pick in the draft. So they've figured out a way to, even when they're not winning, keep an eye on the future. And that's why, as well, as in association with the way that the owners have really supported their players financially by signing guys to big contracts, I think the ownership group there is determined to stay on top. So I feel that we are still going to see the Warriors as contenders. And the other thing is, you mentioned those other teams. Well, the Phoenix Suns last season were 2 wins away from the NBA championship. And this season, they blew it. They didn't even get out of the second round. So that just shows how difficult it is to stay on top and to get to the top. Last year and all through this season, I thought the Phoenix Suns were the best team, best home record, best road record. Chris Paul, Booker was fantastic. But there's a little bit of chaos still engulfing that franchise. We don't know what's going to happen here with DeAndre Ayton, which is bizarre that the Suns are sort of hesitating on what to do with him as far as moving forward. And it just shows that, Chris Paul's 37. He really showed his age late in the playoffs against the Dallas Mavericks. It's just difficult to get to where the Warriors are right now. And I think they realize that, and they realize that they have the advantage that all these guys, that core group, are guys that they drafted in Clay and Draymond and Steph, and the other guys coming through are also guys that they've drafted. So they've figured out a way to not build that super team where, you know, everyone's trying to build a super team right now. Everyone's trying to get the big superstars to play together. We've seen it in Los Angeles with both teams. We've seen it in Brooklyn. But it also hasn't proven to be the right formula for success for everybody else. Ultimately, the Bucks won it last year as more or less a homegrown team. I mean, they didn't draft Chris Middleton or Drew Holiday, but Chris Middleton came along early in his career, and Drew was the right trade. But Giannis, they did draft, and now the Warriors have won a championship with players they drafted as well. So this is almost working well for the NBA in that the super team, you know, we don't love it when all these guys get together and they build these big teams. But ultimately, if it doesn't lead to success, it may work in the benefit of the NBA that it highlights just how you have to go through the draft and rebuild in a more organic fashion.
All right. If you were Brad Stevens, what would you do with the Celtics? Because as you just mentioned in that long answer, talking about how tough it is to get back. Well, they were there. They were very close. What changes, if any, would you make to this Celtics team?
Yeah, well, I think overall, I wouldn't go crazy and blow the team up. I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, those guys were all drafted, and I think they're right. I think they're good players, but they kind of didn't have a point guard this season. Marcus Smart filled in and played very well at times, but he's not a true point guard. I think that's the key here. They started off the season with Dennis Schroeder, and they traded him away. And I think they need to get almost like a Chris Paul point guard, not Chris Paul himself, but someone who can set up that offense a little bit better. Because at times, especially in these last three games, that Celtics offense, after being super aggressive in the first three games, kind of went away from that. And I think that's where there was a bit of a gap. Marcus Smart wasn't quite sure how to keep up the pressure on the offensive end there. So that, to me, is their biggest area of improvement, because in the middle, Robert Williams, he showed he can be a really important piece going forward. He's young. He's incredibly athletic. He's got similarities to Ben Wallace in the way that he can protect the paint and he can block shots. So I don't think they need to upgrade there. Al Horford can probably still hang on for another season or two, but if you really want to contend for a championship, I think you have to keep that youngish group together and then add on the fringes again, kind of like what the Warriors have done with it in the past with a David West or a Sean Livingston. You know, Andre Iguodala, he's obviously another guy who's been a veteran piece that you add. But none of those pieces I mentioned are a huge move. They're just around the fringes. You get the experienced vets that maybe been around the league 5 or 10 years, and they're just now looking to play a role on a team that is contending. Because I think that is a stronger formula than just trying to throw superstars together and hope they gel instantly, when all those guys tend to be used to being the man on a team, and then all of a sudden you have to be you have to share the spotlight. I don't think that works as effectively. But certainly the Celtics can't look at this season as a failure or anything like that. It was an incredible season, considering they were 3 games below 500 in January. They get within 2 games of winning the finals, and they came up short. But Udoka did a fantastic job, and I ultimately think the Celtics will be competing for championships here in the next 4 or 5 years.
Leigh, get ready for the draft next Thursday, and then free agency basically a week or so after that. So try to rest up, and we'll talk to you maybe during free agency.
Of course. Thanks very much for having me, guys.
Leigh Ellis, co-host of the Athletics No Dunks NBA podcast. No Dunks. Follow Leigh on Twitter, Leigh, Leigh Ellis. Leigh Ellis joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
MJ Duffy's got it going on at the Open, David. He has made 4 birdies already on his round through 7 holes. He bogeyed his second hole, so he is 3 under on the day, 6 under for the tournament. He is your leader right now at the U.S. Open. Adam Hadwin, who was a leader after round 1, bogeyed one of his first 2 holes. He is back to 3 under with that group. Victor Hovland with 2 birdies early. He is now T7 at 2 under par. Dustin Johnson, early pars. He's still at 2 under as well.
So he's South African, right?
Correct.
MJ? So what we're going to call, if you win the U.S. Open, is it okay to call him MJ, or is that sacrilegious?
I mean, that's his name, MJ Duffy.
I understand. It doesn't matter. There's
can't
only one
you
MJ
can't call him
in
MJ.
this. Right.
It's MJ. You got to get a little bit of a break. There's MJ.
Or do you have to say his last name?
MJ Duffy?
Right.
Kind of like Tom Brady? Beat you to that, didn't I, David?
That's what I'm wondering. In this country, I don't care that I know your name is MJ, but we can't call you MJ. You're in the States, all right? There's one MJ, and it's not you.
There's two MJs.
No, there's not.
No.
Michael Jackson.
Well,
Who was Michael?
Yeah.
See, I thought Michael Jordan was Michael.
No, he became MJ. No, it was MJ. Yeah, and Michael Jackson was just Michael. Yeah.
Was Michael Jordan Mike?
Never.
No, never. Except for the ad campaign. Remember
Right, be
early
like
on
Mike.
his career?
Yeah.
Won't you be like Mike? Yep.
Times I dream
So
that
that's
he
it.
is me.
All right, take it easy over there. Now, that was nice of you to give the U.S. Open update because, once again, it's on Peacock Plus right now.
Correct.
Right. And so a lot of golf fans that are listening and they're not watching.
And won't be able to.
No. But at 9:30, it switches back to USA Network, 4.5 hours of that, and then it goes to NBC. Now, I was not watching at this point in time yesterday, but apparently it was a little awkward for NBC as a network because that whole January 6th committee, they were televising it yesterday.
Oh.
And apparently there was, I think it was Liz Cheney, who at like 1:59 was like in the middle of something. And Lester Holt has to come on and go, well,
Time for the U.S. Open?
flip on over to MSNBC. But now here's Dan Hicks and Paul Azinger. Right.
Ouch.
Yep. And everybody was giving NBC a hard time. And I was waiting for NBC to tweet out, we're contractually obligated. If we don't do this, we're screwed.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, sure is. Yep.
Miller and Moulton. Port Charlotte, Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City. Have a tremendous weekend. The bonus hour is next on Miller and Moulton.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, come on, baby.
That
Mark.
would've been awesome.
Marco
They do
Polo.
10-shot rule, right?
Mark.
Top 70 in ties or 10 shots.
Because like,
Well, I don't think MJ
Yeah.
Duffy's going to continue this.
Her name is Brie Larson. She's in a bunch of movies.
Okay.
She plays, what's her name? Captain Marvel in the Marvel movies. But these movies suck.
okay.
Guy Texas says she can't call him MJD. They're taken by Maurice Jones-Drew. Hashtag go Jags.
Mm. Wow. White Sox, Astros.
Wow.
for
Give
Sunday
us
Night
baseball or give us death. I'll take death. Holy cow.
Wow. I'm going to guess that is a low-rated game. Like, I don't know if it'll do 1 million.
This is awful.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
That's what I got yesterday. I'm like, wow. He goes, you laughed. I know you laughed. That's what Blinko sends me.
I had a massage yesterday. I haven't had one of those in like
When I have money again, I'm going to get a
4 or
massage.
5 months. Well, I set it up where it comes out of a credit card every month, whether you go or not.
Right.
So when I called them up, I'm like, hey, how much I got? They're like, oh, you got about 4 massages here. I'm like, oh, great.
It's funny that you mentioned the give us baseball, give us death, I'll choose death comment, because the other day I explained to someone who doesn't watch baseball that even baseball fans hate baseball.
How about your Guardians, Rob? They'd be in the playoffs.
But the thing is, they don't hate their team. See, that's the
Oh, of
biggest
course
thing.
not.
Oh, baseball sucks. I still love the Yankees.
Still love the Marlins, yeah. It's a shameful life, but I still love the Marlins.
I've never been able, and it's weird. I should be a Marlins fan over a Rays fan because I'm a Tigers fan. The Marlins have never done anything to make me even come close to wanting to like them. No, I don't, because I know they're not good, but that doesn't matter to me. They're broadcasters, and the Rays play in the Trop, but I like their broadcasters. I like their television broadcast.
The hype going into the 2012 season, I will never forget in my life. They were saying that the Marlins were contenders. And in the first game in the history of Marlins Park against the defending champ Cardinals, who had just lost Albert Pujols, by the way, they had 3 hits.
Yesterday, 1/3
0 runs.
of all flights at LaGuardia were canceled,
Wow.
and 1/4 of the flights at Newark were canceled. Yeah, it was a. Tommy Lee quits Motley.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, along with final thoughts, all coming up in roughly 40 minutes time. The Warriors, title number 4, 6th finals appearance in 8 years. And yet, despite all that success, 2 years ago, they had the worst record in the league and the 2nd overall pick. And quite frankly, the guy they drafted 2nd overall hasn't done much of anything for him. He's basically been hurt these last 2 years. But Steph and company did it. And, people can do the whole, where do the Warriors rank? Where does Steph rank? We don't care about that stuff on this show for the most part.
Not really.
I do think he is one of the most transformative players in league history.
He changed the game, David. We are not shooting three-pointers at the rate we are shooting them without Steph Curry. There is just no way.
I mean, maybe you could argue that he and they were the team at the right time, right when the league was beginning to become more analytical and we were starting to shoot more threes. But I think of it the way you do. I think of it as maybe people in front offices were talking about it, but the Warriors went out and did it.
And they didn't just do it. They did it in a gorgeous way.
Yes, they were.
When they came
pretty.
on the scene, the way the ball was zipping around, you had not. I would try to have someone tell me they found this before, that they saw this somewhere else, because I hadn't.
Well, there were great, obviously, the Showtime Lakers and the ball move with Magic, and even those great Celtics teams, they moved the ball really well on offense, but, they didn't shoot threes.
Correct.
So the game, for those of us old enough to remember those teams and what basketball looked like, it didn't look like the 2015 Warriors.
And they weren't just shooting. Steph wasn't just shooting threes, David.
Right.
He was 8-10 steps behind the arc, burying these shots. We had never seen anything like that. And I don't know when the next time we will see something that transforms us the way that Steph did. There's no Trae Young without a Steph Curry.
Agreed. I mean, we have as many players as we do now at lower levels and now college and early in their pro careers that play, there's no Ja Morant without Steph. It just, that's the other thing. I mean, Steph's a skinny guy. Think about how great he is. He was taken 7th overall. 7th overall. There are people in the history of the game who can't put 6 players ahead of Steph Curry all time. The Timberwolves took point guards at 5 and 6.
Johnny Flynn, man. And Ricky Rubio?
Rubio first, Flynn second. And then Golden State at 7 was like, well, okay, I guess we'll take Steph. And he didn't want to play for him. Wouldn't work out for him pre-draft. Wanted to go to the Knicks at 8. And the Knicks had said, big mistake, publicly, well, if he's there, we're taking him. Trust me, as a Knicks fan, I was sitting there wondering, Minnesota's got 5 and 6. And sure, I wasn't the only Knicks fan going, you sure you can't figure out a way to trade up? All right.
Get 6, give him something else, move up 2 spots, make sure you get the guy you want.
Well, because the word was the team
they
was
wanted Rubio was always set with them.
And
I
so
remember
it's kind of
that.
like, well, then move up to 6 and, they'll move down and, right.
That's one hell of a draft class, by the way.
Well, but you look back now and you're like, how in the world could Steph fall to 7? When if we were to draft players all time in the history of the NBA, there are people who make their living on the NBA in which Steph wouldn't make it to 7. We're talking all the players in the history of the league.
Do you have it up there?
Yes.
Who were the first 4?
It went Blake Griffin, then Hasheem Thabit, then James Harden, then Ty Evans, who won Rookie of the Year, then Ricky Rubio, then Johnny Flynn, then Stephen Curry.
So, Harden, at 3?
Yes.
And Blake Griffin, and that was the consensus, by the way.
Right.
I mean, he was going 1. Harden left Arizona State, I think, a year early.
By the way, some other names: DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday. That's a good draft.
It is a good draft, but I mean, Steph
It's not
Curry's
that good. I mean, because you just rattled off the first players, and Blake Griffin had a nice career, but not great. James Harden has a really good career, and Steph, you've got everybody else in there that's.
I mean, numbers 2 and 6
are busts.
You know,
so that's not a great draft.
I mean, DeMar
goes. Yes,
great player.
I got you. He is.
Drew Holiday too. We've had this discussion about Drew Holiday.
No. They're very good players.
But I want you to start looking up every year's draft and then go back, and because I think you'll text me at about 8:00 tonight when you start going through 20 drafts, going, "Ooh, yeah, this wasn't a great draft." There was some good. See what that is, Felipe. Is there was some good finds late. When you get a DeRozan or a Drew Holiday late, that's impressive.
Well, DeRozan went 9. That's semi-late. I mean,
that's
top 10.
That's late.
That's late in comparison to there's 3 guys taken ahead of him at the very least, in which you go, man, what in the world were they thinking?
Ty Lawson.
But I mean, you think about franchise history. This happens all the time. I mean, he's right there for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they need guards. Obviously, they take 2 of them, and they don't take Steph. You know, we were talking Mitchell Trubisky and the Steelers. We talked about it. So the Bears were going to draft the quarterback, and they're going to draft one out of the ACC, and they don't take Deshaun Watson. They took Mitchell Trubisky instead. It's like, seriously? And Curry did the year before single-handedly take Davidson within a bucket of the Final Four. Johnny Flynn. Now, I will say most people at the time would have taken Rubio over Steph.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he had international experience. We had a pretty good idea of what we thought we were getting there. And his career obviously didn't pan out nearly what people thought.
And they were worried, is Steph a tweener? You know, is he not good enough to be a point guard and not big enough and handle the rigors of being a 2 guard?
But then again, starts out with Mark Jackson there. If Kerr doesn't come and revamp that offense, we don't know. A lot of variables.
Now, Mark, what's better? Curry, DeRozan, Harden, Griffin, Holiday, or Butler, Irving, Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, Isaiah Thomas Vucevic?
They're comparable, but to me, when you look at the draft, it's where are the busts? It's not just the top players. When you look at a draft, you have to look at an entire draft.
That's true.
You have to look at who was drafted in the top 5 and did they meet or not meet expectations. And when you gave that first draft, there were too many guys in the top 5 that did not meet expectations to me.
The second draft that I said, Enes Kanter was the 3rd overall pick. Derek Williams, too, by the way, also.
Happens all the time in the NBA.
I didn't know Enes went that, or my bad, Enes Freedom now.
Happens all the time. Speaking of Harden, by the way, FGCU played Arizona State when Harden was
really?
at Arizona State. Yeah. And you're not going to believe this. I did the game. Flew out to Arizona and did the game. In fact, flew out.
Did you lose money doing that game?
No, this was at the time when FGCU actually spent money on the broadcast. So they paid for the flight.
Oh,
and I think
that's unusual.
I think I got $150 to do the game. And I was on in the afternoons at the time. You were mornings, I was afternoons, I think. Or I don't know.
I don't even know if I was here yet.
No, actually, that's not true. You were here. We were here together. Because what year is that? That's the 09 draft or 2010?
Was 09 draft, yes.
So that's the 09 draft?
09 draft.
Okay. So, yeah, we're doing a show together. All right. And so I was out there and you were back here and we did the show. And then, so I flew out in the morning at 6 a.m. to Phoenix. All right. We did the show together. Then I grabbed the equipment, walked in the arena, set it up, did the game, went to the airport, took the red eye back and did the show with you the next day in studio. But there was a 3-on-2. Arizona State's in transition. This is FGCU. They're making the jump from D2 and now they're D1, but the roster's kind of a tweener. They got some D1 guys, some D2 guys, and it's not what they're going to be in 2-3 years. And Rob Quaintance had played junior college ball in Arizona. So he was the Eagles point guard, and he had some friends and family at the game. And it's a transition and what have you, and I forget who had the ball for Arizona, and they give a bounce pass on the left side to Harden. And Rob Quaintance tries to set up and take the charge. And James Harden grabs the ball with his left hand, palms it, takes two big steps, and dunks right in Rob Quaintance's face.
Oh, I need to see this highlight.
In which his was right in Quaintance's face as he is slamming it home over them on like a 31-3 run by Arizona State.
Good to see the fam was all there to see him get posterized.
Exactly. And I believe they had FGCU at the time also had a young guy from LaBelle who I believe still lives in the area, Chad Lukenhouse, and he was on that team and he got dunked on in that game. It was, and what's funny was, and
this is Balza?
Yeah.
FGCU?
Yeah, this is first coach Dave Balza, right? They're in transition. This is when they had the 4 20-loss seasons in a row. They were a terrific D2 program. And before Andy and it happened, they got their butts kicked. Right. And I think it was a season opener at Arizona State. Herb Sendek is coach and right. And they had 2 NBA guards in the same backcourt. I mean, Harden a year later goes 3rd overall. He's playing,
playing a D2 school.
Right. Basically. Right.
It's like playing Orlando for him.
So I just remember, Harden at Arizona State and the FGCU connection.
He gets a lot of hate all like in the pantheon of the NBA, but I'm a big James Harden fan. I like James Harden.
Well, James better get in shape and better get his act together.
Apparently he's going to re-sign with Philly.
Well,
of course he is.
That's Philly's fault.
That is Philly's fault.
It's Philly's fault. If he's going to play like he did at the end of the year, I'd walk away in a year.
Him and Daryl Morey are too close.
Right now, you're running the Sixers based on what you saw. You're going to give him that 5-year, $260 million
Not
contract?
Not a chance.
Right. I'm with you. Miller and Moulton. Vote in our poll question. It's about Father's Day. Thanks for being with us.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It was 09.
Oh, yeah, it was 09 because 08 was when he took Davidson to the region final, and then he comes back for one more year. So he comes back in 09, and then they do the draft. Got it.
Wasn't able to find any footage. Wasn't able to find any footage of the game, but I found a game log. He didn't even start He had 22 points and 6 rebounds. James Harden in that game against FGCU.
There's another guy who got drafted that was in the backcourt for Arizona State.
That was also his second collegiate game of his career.
He didn't play, by the way, like the final 15 minutes of the game. I mean, take a look at they were up by like 30 at the half.
Oh, he played 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'm just
8 for 9 from the field. That's interesting though. I didn't know that they played.
They were the season opener for Kansas in 09. In the 08-09 season. Kansas won the title in 08, and FGCU was the season opener for Kansas the next year when they unveiled the banner.
My God, James Harden was good in college.
He only played a couple years, I think.
2.
So yesterday, David, Rep Jim Jordan, tweets out, "Real America doesn't care about the January 6th committee." Steve Gorman, who's the former drummer for the Black Crowes, who has a radio show on Cumulus now, says, "Real America's pretty fucking stupid then, huh, Jim?" And he spelled it JYM.
Yeah, all risk. Harden reminds me of McEnroe. McEnroe never worked out. He just played tennis. And late in his career, he had to work out because the game had gotten physical and he was having to play against Lendl and he had to start working out. And that's where I think Harden is.
I don't know. There's a pretty girl that I follow on here, and I don't know why, because she says funny things. And this is, I guess, the reason why. She's FSU Molly. Starting a work email with "Good morning, BJ" to a guy named BJ feels like an HR violation.
It's not wrong.
That funny.
Arizona State's in the Pac-12, yeah?
32 for MJ Duffy.
Think about those matchups. I mean, his freshman year, he had to play Westbrook. I saw Donovan Mitchell at Louisville come to town and play UM, and I thought to myself, he's pretty good.
That's a tough one for me because Rick Pitino obviously coached him and recruited him, and Mitchell's from the New York area and wanted to be a Knick, and he was on the board when it was time for the Knicks to draft, and the Knicks passed on him. And Pitino had the day before publicly in the New York Post begged the Knicks to take him and basically said, if you don't take him, you will live to regret it. And now the Knicks have spent 2 years plotting how to get Donovan Mitchell out of Utah.
Who did they take? No, Dennis Smith. No, he went to the
Uh,
was it Mitchell Robinson?
No, he went in the second round. I think it was the guy they gave up on this year and they traded to Atlanta for Reddish.
No, it wasn't Knox.
Knox. I think it was Knox.
No, I think Knox was the 18 draft. Mitchell was the 17 draft.
Okay. Well, I mean, look it up, but it was. Well, you know, Mitchell's been at 2 Mets games already this offseason.
I saw that. He was taking BP with Lindor.
Yeah.
They took Ntilikina.
Yeah.
Frank,
there you go.
Frank
France. Right. Phil Jackson's last gift to the Knicks.
Right.
Was passing on Donovan Mitchell for Frank Ntilikina.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. You're starting to get into these U.S. Open. I mean, you're on your phone during breaks going through the leaderboard.
Yeah. What else is there to do? This thing's in the home stretch. I got the last segment already taken care of. 8-10 more minutes here. Little good, bad, and ugly. Today was a day when. What's on tap? And I'm going to go home and watch some USA Network.
9:30 is when you can start watching the golf on USA till 2 o'clock. Then you get NBC from 2 to 5. Then it's back on USA. And then they end it again on that whole Peacock Plus thing. Not a single golf shot on the Golf Channel.
Which, by the way, yesterday you did not see the finish of Adam Hadwin on USA. He was still on the course when they switched to Peacock Plus. So you weren't sure whether or not he was going to finish at 4 under or not. He's 2 over on the day for those keeping track. But it's MJ Duffy, 3 under 32 on his front 9. He is 6 under, 3 ahead of the pack right now. None of the 3 under players have teed off currently right now that are at 3 under. A bunch of players at 2 under and a bunch more at 1. In total, there are 23 players that are better than par right now.
And the significance of him getting to 6 under, and we'll see if the South African can stay there, is they do the 10-shot rule. And oftentimes the 10th shot keeps a bunch of guys in the tournament who otherwise they get to top 70 and ties oftentimes 1 shot before the 10th shot.
All right. He shot 32 on the front. He is leading the U.S. Open currently by 3 shots. If I put the over-under at 36.5 on his back 9, where would you go?
Over. Can't keep it going, and the back 9's playing harder. That's at least what I was told after Thursday. More tougher holes on the back 9.
Wind spiked up yesterday afternoon, making the afternoon session a little more difficult to play. So we'll see if that's the case again today at the Country Club at Brookline, where they are at for the U.S. Open. Again, it is MJ Duffy, your leader right now at 6 under par.
Hadwin's already 2 over for his round.
Yeah, that didn't take long.
No.
That didn't take long at all. Victor Hovland, 2 under on his round today. He's T6 right now.
So Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick, Homa, Zalatoris. I'd love to see a young guy. That would be great. I mean, it's not like Rory's old and Justin Thomas is in his late 20s, but you know what I mean. I'd have no problem with a young guy who hasn't won a major before winning this U.S. Open. I mean, that was John Rahm last year.
By the way, Rory tees off at 125 today, so you'll be able to watch pretty much his entire round. In fact, you'll be able to watch his entire round today.
First 2 holes on USA, and then most of the round on NBC, and then wrapping it up on USA.
Justin Thomas was off to a bit of a rough start. He was 2 over early. And in fact, he's 3 over through 7 on his round today. Brooks Koepka 1 under on his round today. Both of those 2 are at 2 over, where Scotty Scheffler is as well. He's 2 over through 6.
If I can just transition, there were some rumors that were being tweeted out late yesterday, LIV rumors about who are the next round of golfers that are going to commit. And I will say this, if you've been following this story, the rumors have been right. The names that have been thrown out there have almost all been right so far. Now, maybe guys held off for a few days or a week or what have you, making the announcement. A couple of people waited till after the London event before making their announcement. Now they're going to play at the end of the month in Portland. But the rumors yesterday were there's 2 or 3 golfers that are going to announce Monday and Tuesday that they are making the jump to the LIV. And the names being thrown out there are all golfers under the age of 35. They're all Rory's age or younger. And one source stated, matter-of-factly, one of the golfers is currently ranked in the top 16 in the world.
That would be a stunner, particularly if it's a younger player, because to me, if you're under the age of 30 and they're not offering you close to the DeChambeau money, it's got to be that type of money, David. It's got to be 8 digits, and it's got to be north of $50 million. Because if you're talking about somebody in their 20s, there's a lot of money to be earned out there. And these guys are all making, the top guys are making $6, $7, $8 million a year. And if you continue that on for 5 years, that's 40 right there.
Well, Dustin Johnson is 16th. Tony Finau's 15th. Zalatoris is 14th. Matsuyama's 13th. The name that's being thrown out there is Xander Schauffele. He's 12th in the world. Horschel, Spieth, Sam Burns is 9th. Hovland is 8th. Hovland is a name that was bandied about early in the week. The media asked Hovland at his U.S. Open presser, and he said, no, not true. Now,
could be true in a month.
Could be true next week. Maybe. But Morikawa's 7th. Cam Smith, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Rory, Rahm, and Scheffler. But it was an interesting notation by this particular source who has named names in the last 3 weeks, and they've all been right. When he said specifically in the top 16 in the world.
Ironic that DJ's at 16th, and that's the number that he went to.
Well, but also because Matt Fitzpatrick is 18th and Brooks Koepka is 19th. Fitzpatrick, English, younger, and all the Europeans, everybody is focusing in on them, okay, because the whole having to play in the 15 PGA Tour events is something that has rubbed Europeans the wrong way for a while, and also the feeling that the PGA Tour kind of pressured them to no longer play the European Tour. So that's why Europeans always get mentioned. That's why you've seen so many veteran Europeans make the move. But Koepka's been mentioned, obviously the connection with his brother.
Right.
All right, but he's 19th, so he's not in the top 16. That's why the fact that he went 16th. All right, and the two names that people are really focusing on, Finau and Schauffele.
How old Schauffele?
28.
I didn't even know he was that old. That's why I didn't know if you had that off the top of your head, and I didn't mean to try to stump you there.
I actually think he's younger than that.
That's what I thought. I thought he was more like 26, 25.
He is 28.
Okay,
He'll be 29 in October. Same age as DeChambeau. Now, he's yet to win a major, though, right?
But he's got to be north of 50 million if it's Schauffele.
I would think so. Because this is the other thing to consider. These guys are going to lose all their endorsements or 90% of their endorsements. And a lot of them, as we're finding out, they make every bit as much or maybe even a touch more off the course than they do on. So if you're making $4 to $5 million a year off the course, it's like, hey, if I'm losing $10 million over the next 2 years, you gotta, throw me a little something for the effort here.
And you're acting like this is going to be more than 2 years. If you're making the move, you're making the move.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are hoping that this is going to get reconciled in 2 to 4 years, and the young ones are all going to be able to circle back to the PGA Tour. If you're 28 now, you'll be able to circle back between the age of 30 and 32. We'll see.
Be interesting to see. Obviously, you think their lawyers are telling them that they're going to win this.
Right. The same. Right. And the lawyers are telling the PGA Tour, don't worry, they're going to sue. We're going to win.
Miller and Moulton, afraid to sue anybody on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Fox actually had him on at Oakmont. And he didn't redesign Oakmont, but they were just talking about golf. It's funny. Fox did a lot of things right. Yep, there it is. Good dude. Funny, dry sense of humor. Good dude. No ego. He had just, Loomis, the executive producer, was smart enough to hire him because he thought Hans was about ready to break through, because he knew he was designing the Olympic course.
Read the one underneath first, the top tweet. What he's responding to. The God tweet. No, America's belief in God hits a new low.
Right, he says, right.
My belief in America's hit a new low, too.
Four titles in 6.
KW, that is an interesting weather forecast. So the weekend in the 60s.
Torts got named.
Right, 4-year deal.
Jesus. I can't believe Florida's not one of them. There are 11 states that allow NIL for high school athletes. Alaska, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Kansas, Louisiana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Jersey, New York, and Utah. Minnesota, too. There's 12, okay.
Don't you find it disgraceful that the Golf Channel is not going to have a single golf shot?
I see what they're. I don't as much as you. I mean, disgraceful, maybe. I get it. There now, apparently, and apparently, people are saying you can watch on Peacock. I couldn't yesterday when I tried to do it. Maybe you can watch feature groups. All I got was a.
Hey, so
unlock everything with
you
premium.
said backing up the truck on the sub. What do you mean?
See if I can watch
Back up the truck is just bet, you bet large amounts of money. Back up a Brinks truck is the whole thing. Back up the truck, like a truck full of money.
Gotcha.
So, truckload of money.
And then you're
Back
emptying
up
out
the
the
truck.
money.
Right. Back up the truck on blank.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you what. For those of you watching on, are you sure you're not paying for the premium? Because I'm trying to put this on right now and cannot Get it on. All I get every time I do it is unlock everything with premium.
Talking about Peacock Premium?
Yeah, I'm talking about regular Peacock. Drutharian's saying I can watch it on Peacock. I have hit 4 different things, and all I get is buy premium, and that's all that comes up. Featured holes, part 1. Unlock everything with premium. So I don't. Featured group 2. Unlock everything with premium. Are you sure you're not paying for it and don't know it, Drutharian?
Well, Drutharian's saying it comes with his Xfinity package.
Huh. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not able to watch it on my phone, and I don't have Xfinity. And Patrick Reed made a birdie.
Yesterday, I spoke to my friend who's a diehard PGA fan. He said that the LIV Tour is the worst thing that's ever happened to the sport.
Yeah. But here's what I find interesting, because now this is a week, the LIV had a good week, except for Sunday. Sunday, that was a good day for the PGA Tour. And then the PGA Tour is getting all this press this week in which these golfers are blankety blanks. And that's why I find it interesting that there's already a handful of them that are locked and loaded and ready to go, and they're going to announce Monday or Tuesday.
Come back.
Got to sign in, Drutharian.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Have some fun with us, if you will, and vote in our poll question at floridasportsnetwork.com, or that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter. So Father's Day gift, which would you rather have? Spend the day with family or be left alone? That's our question. It's pretty close to 50-50 last time we looked. Was it 52-48? Alone was winning.
Alone's right there. There's no doubt.
So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and vote.
Alone's not just winning. It's starting to run away with it.
Oh,
59% of you would rather be left alone than with your families.
Wow.
I voted family.
You did.
I did.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
You'd say what you want. You'd spend your time alone.
Yep.
I'm going to take pictures all day Father's Day of me hugging my family and put them up on Twitter.
You know who I think is going to be spending time alone on Father's Day? Vince McMahon. Although, who knows? This could be old news in the McMahon household.
Right,
for
and
all
I
we
don't think
know.
the son's going to be bothered by it. The daughter might.
Yeah, right. Well, but, she's now running the WWE. He has voluntarily stepped back from his position as CEO and chairman. I always loved the chairman title.
What title would you want if you could have any? Chairman of the board or CEO? Chief Executive Officer, Chairman of the board.
So Sean McManus is the head of CBS Sports.
Right.
And so at one point in time, I think he was the president of CBS Sports. And somewhere along the way, his position got changed to chairman. And so he was the first person in my life that I've ever addressed as, hello, Mr. Chairman.
How did he like it?
Oh, no, he liked it.
Did he?
It's like Faldo when you call him sir. Oh, no, his eyes perk up. No, he likes that.
Did you go Sir Nick or
I
just
did.
Sir?
No, I went Sir Nick. Sir Nick at the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta.
For the before the SEC championship game, right? Is
Right.
that when you
he was
paths with him?
taking in like his first college football game, and it was the SEC title game in Atlanta. And so, yeah, he was in the bar. And so in order to try to be a fly on the wall and be allowed to sit at the table, he kind of looked at me like, who are you and what are you doing here? And I said, hi, sir, Sir Nick, how are you? And after that, he was like, well, you could sit here. Because I was the only one at the table who called him sir. But I was
it's a hell of a title.
I was also the lowest ranking person
Doesn't
at the
matter.
table, if you know what I mean. So I had to go sir in order to have any chance of.
Did Danielson kick you under the table when you did it?
No, it was after hours. Gary's.
Oh, he was already long gone.
Gary's upstairs.
He would have kicked you if he would have been there.
Okay, he would have laughed. He just would have looked at me and laughed. He would have said, "Really? You suck up?"
Yes.
And I would have been like, "Hey, this will be my only time."
How many times are you going to meet at night?
Yeah. How many times am I going to be drinking with Nick Faldo? Are you
And
kidding
I don't
me?
mean Atlanta or
Right.
Nashville.
Do you remember we chased him around at the Super Bowl? Okay, we were trying to get him on, and you and I were both doing the Sir Nick thing. Okay, but he had his CBS PR person handler.
Oh,
because
that's right.
he turned to us. Okay, and he was talking to us, and the PR person would not let him come on our show.
Nope. We got to get back. I want a real before this is done. I want one more good radio row.
Well, first off, they got to have a Super Bowl within 1,000 miles of us.
I know.
The closest one of the next 4 is New Orleans.
I'm in.
Trying to think which one that is. I think it's 2 years from now.
I know a lot of plans got.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. Joe and Troy cost us Super Bowls. We had them lined up and ready to go. Fox had two of the next 3. But no, we're screwed now.
Guys, I messed up. I forgot to cut the pro.
Yeah, I know.
intro.
And no one sent it to me.
Are you serious?
And no one sent it to me like I asked. Because you know how it was going to get done? Like everything else on this show, me doing it. You're going to play the thing without.
To take back this segment.
You don't even have it?
Oh, man.
Are you serious?
Unbelievable.
This is your job, by the way. Like, this is your only job. The microphone is not your job. Producing this show is your job. That's actually what we pay you for.
Let's go.
Unbelievable.
Man, I got Vicky to cut it and everything.
1631 is where we start today, David.
Wow.
Mumtaz Mahal dies during childbirth. Her husband, Emperor Shah Jahan, spends more than 20 years building her tomb. You know it as the Taj Mahal.
Emperor, huh? That's not bad.
Emperor's fantastic.
I mean, president, CEO, chairman, emperor.
1880, Providence Grays pitcher John Ward throws a perfect game, beating the Buffalo Bison 5-0. It's the second perfect game in the National League in 6 days. There would not be another for 84 years. Today in 1885, the Statue of Liberty arrives in New York. 1927.
Can you hold on?
Sure.
All right. They had to ship that sucker because obviously they don't ship it whole.
Right.
So think about it. Remember, it's 1885. It's not Amazon. This ain't UPS.
No drones.
Right. So apparently 350 pieces is what the Statue of Liberty was, and they were in 200 different
Crates?
Yeah.
You know, think about all those Christmases. Slot A into flat B.
Hey, you got the right nuts and bolts for this thing yet? It's just, I got to connect the arm to the pit.
1927 at Oakmont, Tommy Armour wins his first of 3 majors. 1943, I put this on because I found the stat fun. Joe Cronin is the player manager of the Red Sox. He will hit 2 3-run pinch hit home runs in the game. He kept himself in, but I like when you're the player manager. You know what I want to hit? Right here.
You know, when you and I were growing up, that was not an outrageous thing if a team did it. A player manager. I remember Frank Robinson as a player manager with the Indians. Joe Torre was player manager with the Mets. Pete Rose, who may have been the last player manager we had, mid-'80s with the Reds. I don't know if we've had a player manager since.
54, Rocky Marciano beats Ezra Charles. It's his 3rd heavyweight title defense, and it was at Yankee Stadium. 61, U.S. Open at Oakland Hills. Gene Littler wins his sole major. 62, Jack wins his first major at Oakmont, winning by 3 in an 18-hole playoff with Arnie.
Yep, in Arnie's backyard. He beat him in the playoff.
71, Carole King's album Tapestry goes number 1 on the U.S. album chart. 72, Exile on Main Street by the Stones goes number 1. It was the same day that these 5 guys were arrested after trying to bug the Democrat National Committee office in Watergate Complex in Washington. I don't know whatever happened with that after, David.
A lot, Mark. A lot.
73 at Oakmont. Johnny Miller shoots that 63 to win his first major championship.
He shot like 5 over on Saturday, thought he was out of it, came back on Sunday, shot 63.
In 73, Dolly Parton records I Will Always Love You. I bring that up because no one knows that she did that song. They all attribute it to Whitney Houston, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for covering the song, for being a good karaoke singer.
We've been through this before. There's
know.
not a pop music Hall of Fame, so they incorporated it in.
76, the Nets, Pacers, Nuggets, and Spurs merge into the NBA. 79, Hale Irwin wins his second Open, 2 ahead of Jerry Payton, Gary Player at Inverness. Today in 1980, Bruce Springsteen releases The River.
Then he would re-release it about 30 years later or 40 years later and tour off of it.
1990, Irwin wins again, this time at Medina. 91, Payne Stewart wins a Monday playoff at Hazeltine.
And Scott Simpson, I believe.
Yep. Today in 92, the Sixers changed Sir Charles to the Suns. Today in 94, there was a thing on television.
It was Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
On one channel. On every other channel, there was a white Bronco going about 45 miles an hour on the interstate.
I got the OJ.
I got
the OJ in the car.
One of the best 30 for 30s of all time. It's titled June 17th, 1994. Go watch it.
Game 5 NBA Finals at Madison Square Garden. Series was tied at 2. Ewing and the Knicks against Hakeem and the Rockets. It was the day of the Rangers parade down the Canyon of Heroes in New York. 1.5 million, 2 million people. It was also Arnie's
last Open.
And that was for Friday. And so he obviously wasn't making the cut. So it was Arnie's last appearance in his backyard there.
Also, for good measure, they added that Ken Griffey Jr. hit like a 500-foot home run in a random game.
Yeah. And then white Ford Bronco chase.
Yep.
Got a few people's attention.
97, the NHL announces it would add Nashville, Atlanta, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Columbus.
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
2003, Moneyball is published. 2007, Angel Cabrera wins his first major, one ahead of Jim Furyk and Tiger Woods. 2008, the Celtics beat the Lakers for their 17th overall title.
The disgraced Angel Cabrera now is in prison. Domestic violence.
2010, Lakers beat the Celtics. Kobe's your MVP. Webb Simpson wins the Open in 2012. And in 2018, Brooks Koepka wins his first of back-to-back U.S. Open titles. Those born today that are no longer with us: composer Igor Stravinsky, Ralph Bellamy, Crazy Legs Hirsch. Those that are still with us: Newt Gingrich and Barry Manilow, both born on the same day. Happy 79th to the two of them. Dave Concepcion is 74. Joe Piscopo is 71.
Joe Piscopo live. Sports.
The big story. Those were great. They really were. Mike Milbury is 70, and no longer we have to watch him on television, and that's a good thing. Popeye Jones is 52. Venus is 42. And Kendrick Lamar is 35.
Kung Fu Kenny now.
Wow. And that, David, is today was a day win. Did I miss anything, guys?
Battle of Bunker Hill today in 1775. That's it for your revolutionary history.
Nice.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
I got Frank Kowalski in Naples for the good. It happened almost a month ago, but he didn't have a hole in one round. He had 2. Shotgun start, shows up late, aces the 7th hole. That's his first. Later in the day would ace his 15th. According to the PGA, the odds of making a hole in one are 12,500 to 1. but to make 2 in the same round, 67 million to 1.
Wow.
For the bad, we go to Minnesota, where 22-year-old man Noah Doherty was arrested after doing 144 miles an hour on his motorcycle in a 65-mile-an-hour zone. When asked why he was going so fast, he said, "It was hot."
Okay.
He said he was listening to headphones as he rode and claimed the entire incident was the deputy's fault. Did I say he was going 144 miles an hour?
Well, it was hot.
Finally, the ugly, we come back to Florida, where Thomas Colucci, 41, is now doing a little bit of community service because, see, he bought some meth and he didn't think it was real meth. So he did what any meth head would do. He gave a stash to the police to see if they would perform a test on it to make sure that his meth dealer didn't give him bath salts. He was arrested, and fortunately for him, he's going to do 25 hours community service and try to stay off of drugs. Good luck with that. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 17th, 2022.
The leader from South Africa there, he just made double on that short par 3.
Ooh.
The 11th.
Yeah.
That's the short one, right?
Yes, it is.
Like 130 yards or something like that. Yeah, he just made 5. So he's now back to 4 under. And obviously the whole 10-shot rule with who's going to lead, and so it's worth paying attention to. College World Series gets underway today, 2 o'clock, ESPN, Oklahoma and A&M. Then 7 o'clock tonight, Notre Dame and Texas, if you're into college baseball. As for Major League Baseball, Rays are in Baltimore. Marlins are in New York to face the Mets. How about this, Mark? The Toronto Blue Jays are in second place in the AL East. They're on pace to win 95 games. And they are 10 games behind the Yankees right now. They're hosting them for a 3-game series. They're 11 games above 500, 40% of the way through the season. And they're 10 back. I mean, they must think, man, we got to sweep this series.
At what point are you just thinking, at what point do you almost have to concede the division and say, just keep playing hard, get to the wild card, and we'll take our chances?
The Yankees were 5-5. They're now 47-16. They're 42-11 in their last 53 games. Unbelievable.
And they're doing it with pitching as much as they are with offense. I mean,
the best pitching in baseball.
And they lead the league in home runs, by the way. Oh, by the way.
Braves, by the way, go for 15th in a row this afternoon at Wrigley. Don't get me wrong. Braves are playing great. It did help. Soft spot of the schedule here. You know, they just got done with a series with the Nats. Now they're doing the Cubs, who are fading in a big way. But going for 15 in a row this afternoon. Have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day, everyone. And thanks so much for listening. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old